You left out that they opened for you too.
They opened for you too? Oh, gross. Welcome to Every Album Ever with Mike and Alex. My name is Michael Mansour, and I'm joined, as always, by my happy co-host, Alexander Volt. Say hello.
Hello.
This is Every Album Ever, the podcast where we listen to every single album in the world, one artist at a time. That's a whole new discography per episode. And today, we'll be discussing every album by...
We got a big one today. Long awaited. Finally tackling Primus.
Primus sucks, everybody. This was requested on Patreon. First by Colton. This is requested by a bunch of patrons.
A bunch of people.
A bunch of patrons, a bunch of non-patrons, everyone.
By you and me?
By us and you and me?
Yeah.
Everyone wants this episode because why wouldn't they? It's Primus. Okay, I don't know how to start these bigger episodes, honestly. I'm so used to covering like no-name little tiny bands. Yeah. And then when someone that like, oh, I want to put care and attention into this episode, I don't know what to say.
It's weird how they're a weird band, but now I've listened to so many things. They feel tame in comparison, still very good, very weird and enjoyable, but like compared to a Ween.
Check out that episode. Ween is like, they're two very different bands, but like
they are, but they feel like they have the same DNA kind of.
Well, yeah, they both are friends with South Park guys and both played in like the anniversary show.
I forgot about that too.
But Ween is like, we're gonna play whatever we want, whenever we want. We like all kinds of music. We're gonna play all kinds of music. We're gonna be silly. We're gonna be serious. Sometimes we're gonna do whatever the hell we want. Where Primus has a very distinct character and style and formula that works with the three main dudes. And when one of those members is not present, it changes everything and it doesn't feel the same. And I've heard, plenty of people have heard it. If you've heard of Primus, you've already been privy to Les Claypool and how dominating his sound is, but also that Larry LaLonde is one of the most underrated guitar players. Doesn't get nearly enough credit because when he's not around or when he's not doing what he's really good at in the band, you notice it and it makes a huge difference.
Yeah, I think all three and even 4 members are really excellent. Like it's so crazy. When there were like mail-in DVD rentals, like what Netflix used to be, I for some reason had Blockbuster.
Yeah.
And they had like drumming videos, which are cool because like those things were like $50 a pop.
Jeez, I did not know that.
So I wasn't trying to buy drum videos, and like there's a little while where I thought like Brain was like the Primus drummer because I watched his video.
Well, I know what other band he was the drummer for, and that's Guns N' Roses. A la Chinese Democracy, the best album.
Yes, he has quite a few. Like he's played in quite a few things. I totally forgot about that band Praxis.
I know the name. That's it.
It's like a funk metal group with Bootsy, and let me see who else is in this. Buckethead is in.
Buckethead. She's also closely associated with Primus.
Yeah, it's Buckethead, Brain, and then you got Bernie Worrell, R.I.P., and Bootsy Collins doing like funk metal.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, I was like, that might be a fun group to cover. And it still might be.
It still might be. Hey, who knows?
I thought they had a longer discography. It's actually manageable.
Well, I have no problem with Brain. He's a fine drummer, but in Primus, I don't want nothing to do with him. I want Tim, and I want only Tim.
Tim is
the fucking man.
Tim is the drummer.
The drummer.
I'll get into my feelings about Brain, but I was just thinking about like how crazy that was for like a period in time. I was like, I thought like Brain was the guy. He's not
him.
Well, not in Primus.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. Because so now we're just talking about the drummers because both Brain and Jay Lane, who would replace Tim for like one stint in the 2000s, they're both, in my opinion, just trying to do their best Tim impression. because his like style was so interesting and unique, and it fit the band so well.
I liked on a more recent tour. By recent, I mean like past 5 or 6 years, where Tim couldn't do it for some reason, and Les Claypool was like, "Look, we've tried this with other drummers, and really, there's only one other person who could replace him, and it's Danny Carey." Like,
you have to have someone not just elite, but elite with their own character and personality on drums. Because with a guy like Brain and Jay, they were just, for one album, Brain is not doing anything interesting at all. But the other ones, it's like, okay, they're doing stuff, but just the exact same things that Tim did, but not quite as good. Or not quite as authentic.
Yeah, as Claypool said, you need to be a master of the polyrhythm to play drums in Primus.
And not only that, you don't just have to be elite. His personality with drums is like, I guess if you're just a casual listener of music in general, I guess it wouldn't matter because he's just a good drummer. But his double kick work, I've always found to be fascinating because it's always just it's used in a very, it's gonna sound stupid, a very musical way. Like I'm gonna give like specific examples on the songs and examples when we get to it. But there's like little things that he does that it's just double kick for the sake of it sounding cool in that little moment. It's not like whatever, like thrash.
Chugging.
Yeah, it's not like thrash where it's just double kick and then a regular beat behind it, or double kick because now you want to feel big and metal over in this section. It's never like that. It's always like it's going to make this little part sound cooler, or it's going to make this just drum fill sound more like a rolling boulder than it normally would.
Yeah,
it's just little things like that are really, really smart, and that's where Tim is the greatest. And everyone else, I mean, it's crazy. I don't know how to explain. If you don't know Les Claypool, I mean, welcome aboard. Holy shit.
I feel it's also impressive Primus's ability to, like, when we were growing up, like, sink their way into pop culture, whether it was like through South Park or being on that first Tony Hawk game. Like, they just had a very interesting way of staying relevant even when rock radio had moved on from weirder acts like Primus.
It's really bizarre that they were so successful mainstream in general, but then you go to like the earliest records and you hear how just incredibly tight and undeniable they are. Like the first album that they have is a live album, and then it's not like a Working Out the Kinks kind of album. It's like, these guys came in, it's like already perfected.
Yeah, fully formed.
Completely, from the jump. So you look at a band like that and you think like, it's too unique, it's too kooky, it's too impressive, and it's too fun to kind of deny that even for mainstream standards. I feel like they were always destined to do well.
Yeah, I feel like there was something about these I'm sorry if I offended you, but like these like Lollapalooza bands where you could market these like unique bands that wouldn't have a chance these days. There's
also something special about this band. They're one of the rare bands where they don't really need overdubs. And if you listen to like the early stuff and even the later stuff, they dabble with overdubs and they get more experimental, whatever. They do that. They do plenty of that. But live, you don't miss it. It feels completely full already with just the three people. And it's not just because there's plenty of bands that sound big and full with just three members, but never this crazy unique and also this completely jam-packed and thick sounding without any need for any kind of sample man or keyboard player or anything else. It's just a very it's just a recipe for success. It's a perfect little, it's just having the bass be that dominating is really rare. And for it to be this fucking kooky and nutty, it's just, this is a once in a generation band for sure.
Also, I like that the bass is driving most of the music. The guitar is used like the bass in a lot of instances.
It's lot of rhythm, but a lot of what Larry does is just crazy melodies, these crazy contrasting melodies, these batshit solos that absolutely rule.
Mm-hmm.
But at the heart of it is just this ridiculous tapping, hammer-on fucking fretless bass thing.
Yeah,
and it's so cool. It's so cool. It's never not cool. But we have some notes here from our history guy, Tom Osman, who he has a nice little note here for our viewers and listeners. He says, in the course of compiling these notes, I've accidentally stumbled upon a whole universe of crazy detailed Primus info. I would never, for example, even have thought to search out the studio setup for the Tales of the Punchbowl album or Larry LaLonde's guitar riff for Pork Soda, but the shit you can find online is wild because we have all of that here. I don't know how I'm going to explain it, but we do have it. And he says it seems that once upon a time there were dozens of Primus fan sites. Many of the domains have now expired, but the cheesy Primus page and Toasterland are still up, if not active. And I thank the makers of both for their obsessively compiled content. So we have plenty of notes from both of those. A lot of like bullet points. There's a lot of details about like what every member did after every single album. And it's like, I'm not going to, we don't need to go into all that.
We don't need to go that far into the weeds.
But it is documented that it is, even when these guys broke up at one point in the late 90s, early 2000s, they were still very, very active. And then the last thing that Tom notes here, he says, and if you're one of those Primus Uber fans, I'm sure I can speak for Mike and Alex in saying, we are delighted to have you here. Please stick around. Neither Mike, Alex, nor myself are claiming to be the greatest experts ever on Primus. That's not what this podcast is about. We're all music lovers here, having honest reactions to music. If Mike or Alex say something you disagree with, or if I fail to put some bit of trivia in the notes you know about, you don't need to get butter or superior. If you have something to contribute, add a friendly message in the comments. Enrich the world with a little sliver of your heart. You don't need to bring anyone else down. Don't be like the Red Cross fans. Be like the Ween fans. Expertly put, 100%.
That's just I think that's a disclaimer. We should this air in front of every video, actually.
Honestly, like, come on, man. We just like music. Please don't yell at us. Or you can if you want, I guess. But he also notes right here, he says, given how insanely detailed the info is on fan site Toasterland, I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt that their history of the band is reliable. And if it's not, hey, it's probably still more factual than that band made No Means No history. 100% check out that No Means No episode where if you go to their website, it's all fiction written by the band themselves. But I guess we can go a little bit of backstory because this band goes back earlier than I didn't realize that Les formed them in 84, which is really early.
Yeah.
It says right here from Toastland, it says 1984, Les Claypool, not long out of high school. Kirk Hammett was a classmate. Crazy. Fucking crazy.
That's why he tried out for Metallica, right?
He did try out for Metallica.
Yeah.
It would not have worked.
No. Imagine that bass sound in Metallica.
Oh my God. They would have just neutered it like they do with every other bass. Yeah. Not long out of high school, was running around San Francisco, terrorizing music store owners by testing all of their bases by playing Yes's Roundabout, listening to Rush, 80s era King Crimson, Ecstasy, check out that episode, and 70s funk. Writing original material, amongst the earliest were Too Many Puppies, the song, some of the Sausage Stuff, and a few of the Holy Mackerel album tunes. And looking for a guitar player with an equally unorthodox outlook. Then he hooked up with high school buddy Todd Huth, and the band was originally called Primate. And then it went through a revolving lineup of drummers. It says right here, which I didn't realize. In fact, one of the early drummers was Brain, who broke his foot skateboarding and didn't last long. So he was in the band before Tim.
Yeah.
Technically, he was the Primus drummer.
Happy accidents, I guess.
I know. Holy crap. I wonder what that would have been like if he stuck from the beginning. I don't think it would have been as good. I'm going to be honest. I don't think it would have been as good.
Yeah.
He's a great drummer, but he's no Tim. It says the first stable lineup was with drummer Tim Curveball Wright, who lasted from 86 until early 88. At the time, the band drew heavily on 80s Bay Area influences like the Chili Peppers and Fishbone. What the fuck?
It's like the further we get away from it, it seems random, but I guess at the time you can make an argument.
Well, yeah, I mean, didn't Chili Peppers start out like as alt metal, like before they blew up?
They were always like
super funky
and had some hard rock influences, and then they went through the Rick Rubin machine and were
I got his book right there.
oh shit. And then they were this kind of like content with that sound.
Yeah. And then actually I didn't miss this as well. In 1988, Jay Lane became the drummer of Primus. So both Jay and Brain were actually before Tim.
Yeah.
Both of them.
They can't bring anyone in they're not unfamiliar with.
I do respect and appreciate that as well, though. Apparently Les played in Blind Illusion with Larry. And then they released a demo in 1988 called Sausage, which had like early versions of Frizzle Fry material. And that Frizzle Fry material is going to be around for a while. Like the demos, the first two albums, it's a whole lot of that in the beginning. Yeah, the following year, both Huth and Lane left. The former to raise a family, the latter due to contractual obligations, and the lineup cemented into Les, Larry LaLonde, and Tim, Herb Alexander. Herb. And 1989 is when they recorded the first album live and released on Caroline Records. So altogether, we're not doing any of the EPs. They have like 4 EPs or so. 2 of them I know for sure are like, you got to cover these EPs at least, like the most recent one, and then the reunion from 2005 or so. I think it came out 2005, but we're covering 10 albums. We can do those EPs in a loose ends. So we're covering just the albums. The first album covering came out 1989. Last one, 2017. That's 10 of them, right? I believe it's 10.
Seems right.
Yeah. So there's a whole bunch we got to talk about, but we might as well get into it.
Let's get started.
Hell yeah. This is the live album, everybody. This is what took the world by storm and helped cement alt metal as an entire genre, along with Jane's Addiction. Check out that episode. This is 1989's Suck on This. Also, the second live album we've ever covered on the show. We've only ever covered one other one.
I thought we've done a few.
Live? I think it was just Nirvana in this one.
I thought we did Cream.
Live?
Yeah.
Well, the second half is live. I think it's an asterisk because the first half is all studio. Also, this is very cool. I love this song so much.
Even Guitar Hero was another way in which Primus this managed to stay relevant.
This song is one of their absolute best openings. I mean, holy crap, this song rules.
And yeah, it's like it's really not different from the studio version.
It's a really good live recording. I mean, the whole album sounds surprisingly great.
3000 back then was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Dude, this fucking rules. Oh. But you see what I mean about them not needing overdubs? How full and perfect does that already sound?
Yeah.
This is one of my all-time favorite live albums. I mean, I don't like live albums, but I think this is one of their best albums.
This sounds great, and in the scheme of things, it's weird. Like it's in a way, it's like a preview of their career because a lot of these songs will pop into different albums.
Yeah. Most of them off the next album, but 3 others on 3 different albums.
Yeah, we'll get like peppered throughout, and it's crazy how good it sounds. I could see why people heard this album and they were like, we need more.
Dude, man, the reason I love this so much is because really, I mean, it's just the pacing. I mean, it's succinct. There's no fat on it. The sequencing, the order of the songs is phenomenal. Yeah. I think even if you never heard this and you're big on the next album, which has most of these songs on it, you need to hear this just for this order, because opening with John the Fisherman is so much better. I mean, I think it's infinitely better to open with that song and to close with Frizzle Fry.
Yeah.
I think those two choices alone are super great. But we also have very early.
Also, you get your YYZ intros on different songs.
Oh, wait.
Because it's on John the Fishman here, and then on the next album, it's on To Defy the Laws of Tradition.
Well, on the next album, it's just this intro, but like it cuts off. It's the same exact recording of the.
But it doesn't go into.
No. I thought it was more of like an homage to this album because it's the same exact live recording. It just kind of cuts off. But the Heckler, Pressman, and Tommy the Cat will all get re-recorded later on. Of course, we all know Tommy the Cat. I mean, it's like their second most famous song, maybe most famous song.
I thought about that while listening, like, because they have songs that are more well known than others, but it's like, I think like Jerry is number one. I think
Winona's Big Bottom Beaver is number one.
See, that's what I mean. Yeah. It's just such a variety of hits.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, some of these were legitimately hits.
Legit hits, yeah.
But yeah, just like such a wide, crazy variety. Yeah. Even if you were to listen to like the best of Primus, it's still crazy.
It's still super crazy. I don't only say Winona is the most famous because everyone I've met, that's like the only Primus song they know. And also the music video. The music video was super iconic.
That's true.
That was the first song I heard from them when I was a little kid. I saw the music video of it. It fucking scarred me.
Yeah. I guess it depends when you got into Primus.
I didn't get into them until I was like a teenager, but I saw the music video as a small kid.
Yeah.
A lot. I saw the music video a lot. But also, I don't want to like keep forgetting this because we didn't mention it on the episode yet. LaLonde helped invent death metal. He was he's a guitar player for Possessed, and Possessed along with Death. Check out that episode from a long time ago. They're both heavily credited with inventing death metal.
Yeah.
Do you know Possessed at all? Have you heard them?
I have not. Give them their due diligence.
I've heard both albums. I think they only have two albums. And of course, Seven Churches is the one that people talk about and the one that helped pioneer death metal. I think it came out in like 87 or something. And it is, you hear that and you don't really hear death metal from it. Mm-hmm. Cause like if you listen to Scream Bloody Gore from Death, you kind of hear death metal, like how that came. With Possessed, it feels way more kind of batshit and chaotic and messy and strange. And it's a really cool album. But it's also bizarre that almost like the exact same time period he was joining Primus.
Yeah.
Like really soon after.
Different mindsets.
Completely. And he goes from pioneering a metal genre to this wild, funky, weird, kooky shit.
Yeah.
But he's amazing. But back to the album. So what do you think about this version of Tommy the Cat? I gotta know.
I think I do like it more than the studio version.
Really?
Yeah.
No fucking way.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Like the bass line is crazy on both.
Yeah.
But I think there's a fuzz to the guitar on the live version.
I didn't even think about that.
Where like it's just like pure nitpicking here. They're not really that different, but like there's just a fuzz and a warmth on the live album that you don't, or the live version that you don't get on the studio version.
I prefer almost all of these versions more than the studio version, except for
that one.
Because now I'm thinking maybe I'm biased because I heard the studio version so many times before this, but the arrangements here is what I don't like. I don't like how it starts off. I don't like there's different drum choices that Tim's doing on this version I don't like as much. Mm-hmm. It's more jammy. The solos aren't developed as much. The guitar solos aren't developed as much. And the bass lines in the very end when he goes into the say baby do you want to lay down with me, the bass lines on that section I don't think they're nearly as interesting or cool here as they would be later on. So all those things kind of culminate into me loving the other version, but it is still worth checking out. And then this version of Pressman and Heckler, they both fucking rule. I think I might like this version of Pressman more than the one we get later on. But everything else. So everything else we're going to get on the next album, but here there's something really energetic and fresh about it here that I would feel less so on the next album.
Yeah, I think Jellicat is that what it's called?
Yeah, Jellicat.
Yeah, that's pretty notable here. Like, it's a big drum solo, and Claypool doesn't really growl ever, and then he just kind of does it on that song. So it helps. And then I think do they re-record that one or?
You know what? I believe that. I wonder. I forgot.
Yeah.
I wonder if they. Let me check. Holy shit! I don't think they.
I don't think they do. So
I don't think they actually. No, they don't. I forgot about that. I thought they re-recorded all of them, but they don't. That's the only one they didn't re-record.
Yeah, so that one is notable and worth talking about because
it is a great song, and there's a fucking nutty drum solo around 2 minutes in too. Yeah, I mean, this is one of the tightest and the fact that this is live, they sound so damn good live. Because we're gonna talk about all these songs in the next album, but still, like Hell of the Rocks, this version the way it comes in after Putting Time feels fucking awesome. Frizzle Fry is a wonderful closer. That bass line, like around 320, absolutely rules. It's super crawly. And then fucking those drums in the section that comes after that. Plus the solo in that song is fucking killer too. Yeah, it's just so cool. Heckler, the intro as well as like the verse sounds so much like the original South Park theme. Like,
I didn't even think about that.
Oh, I mean, I can't not hear it, but it's fucking cool.
Because it's kind of like a sinister, like dark, creepy song.
It's dark and creepy, but there's always this layer of like carnival on top of it. There's always this layer of
that's Primus.
Exactly. Even when they're very rarely dark because when they're dark, it has this layer of camp to it, and it's fucking cool. Heckler absolutely rules. It kind of makes me sad that it takes them so long to re-record that one because, I mean it's fucking rad. What else do we got? I mean, we're gonna talk about everything else in the next album.
I kind of wish they didn't re-record a lot of these, so it's just like it's on here.
I liked it, especially because it sounds we've covered other live albums. I'm remembering now. We covered Husker Du's first album was live, Lansby record.
Yeah,
and that one is like, that's the album where all those songs. Those the only versions you're getting. They didn't re-record any of those. That's the album. I would have liked that also, honestly, with this.
Yeah.
Even though the next album is good, but
yeah.
So around this time period, Les founded Prawn Song, which put out the initial pressings of this album. And then it says, Tom noted here, it says various future Primus releases would either have reissues, released independently via Prawn Song, or released in conjunction with Interscope or later ATO records. On the Animals Should Not Try to Act Like People, which was a DVD and EP combo that came out, I think 2005. I guess the live portion of it was from this time period.
Okay.
I think that's what he's saying here.
At Stanford.
Yeah, Stanford U Radio. Holy crap. Also, Tom notes here, which I didn't realize, that LaLonde was also a student of Joe Satriani along with Kirk Hammett.
That makes sense.
That's interesting. Very interesting. But yeah, I mean, we might as well move on to the next one. We're going to be talking about a lot of repeats here, but it's a live album, but it is, I would say, essential for Primus fans. It's just so succinct, so well executed. And that track listing is fucking godlike. But you ready?
It's a great, they got ahead of the ball and they released the greatest hits before they were hits.
Essentially, basically. Yeah, that's one way to do it.
Yeah.
But now on to the first actual, I guess, studio album. I guess is kind of the debut. But here we are anyway. This is 1990s Frizzle Fry. A little bit of a callback.
Gonna get hit so hard with those copyright claims, probably from Rush.
They can't. We're gonna get them from Primus, and that's it.
Can't get hit from Neil Peart's Dead. You guys have no power.
No power. You've lost it all. That's it.
God, this is crazy because it makes me think of the Minutemen.
Oh yeah, a little bit. It is a very Minute bass line now. Not so much the bowed bass.
And it's just like, I think when people think of Primus, you have the the thumping bass. And all
Yeah, the
this.
plucking, this slapping, tapping.
Here we go. This is like,
There we go.
but they also do those pretty parts.
They sure do.
Yeah. Also, yeah, there's this no drummer like Tim Round.
No, yeah.
Except Danny Perry, I guess.
I guess so. His little hi-hat flourishes are,
And it's fucking tight.
super tight. It's funky without it being like kind of rincy.
Yes.
It's just fucking heavy and mean. And he has such a goofy voice, but it doesn't feel stupid or silly.
It's like it's goofy and unique, but he like knows the range of it and like where to.
So this is pretty fucking rad. However, that is very cool. I have a problem like in comparing this to John the Fisherman as an opener is like, okay, it's not even near as good. However, at 3:20,
Yeah.
this fucking section, which it takes 3 minutes for it to come on because it's a lengthy opener. This section has been stuck in my head for like a week. Put on 3:20.
Oh shit.
Because this is one of the most unique and incredible bass lines I've ever heard. It's brilliant. It's brilliant.
And he has to sing and play it.
Yeah. To write something like this takes a deranged brain.
Yeah, I don't think bass players are like sitting down.
They're fucking not. They're absolutely not writing shit like that. That's why I fucking love it.
Yeah. No, it's a great song, but I get what you're saying where like I think a more like explosive opener would like I almost considered giving this best.
It didn't come close to best for me, but I still think it's a great album.
It was really hard for me to pick best actually.
Go ahead.
I think really Primus has only put out like one bad album.
I think they put out more than one, but there are good arguments for a lot for being best.
Yeah.
Dude. So the reason my main problem with this album is strictly the pacing. And part of what makes the pacing bad for me is because of the direct comparison to Suck on This, which has amazing pacing. And this has so many of the same songs, so for example, Groundhog's Day is track 2 on both albums, but it doesn't feel as good following To Defy Laws of Tradition than it does following John the Fisherman. Frizzle Fry is track 5, which it's a great song, but it feels too like it slows down the pacing too much for the middle of the album like that. Whereas as a closer, it felt really good.
I will say Frizzle Fry is a great example of that innovative, like unique use of double bass pedal.
Yeah, where he makes it a part of the beat, not necessarily it's time for the double kick section. There's always a difference. I never hear it in metal drummers, oddly enough, because I mean, metal's so reliant on like, all right, you got to do the big blasting section, or here's the big epic double kick thing. Or it's never like, it's always little bands like this or weird random noise rock bands or fucking Bleach by Nirvana, where it's like, oh, there's a double kick there. And it's like, oh, we're just going to use it in little areas here and there to spice up the beat, not necessarily to do anything else with it. It's very tasteful. It takes a lot of restraint to pull off something like that.
Yeah, not someone who has restraint, but I think Braun from Mastodon uses it in creative ways. It's just hard to tell because he's so busy.
He's nonstop. The man sounds like he has 14 arms. I mean,
it's like listening to a fucking train go by.
It's insane. He sounds like multiple drummers. It's a lot. It's the fucking life. Fits Mastodon fine, but yeah, he's amazing. But what else? Some of the non-repeats here that we got are Too Many Puppies.
I love how big and crunchy that song is, and you wouldn't think, oh, this has a part with like a really pretty ride cymbal in it. And it's just like the back and forth.
It's fucking cool.
Yeah.
when I hear that song, it's like the most Primus sounding thing ever to me. Like when I think of Primus, I think of
that song.
Not only that song, but that minor second type riff, one fret over, that type of riff. It does it on that song. It does it on many others later on, but it's just this thing that immediately jumps to Primus. That's what they do. They do that kind of riff where it feels just like it's really chunky and 4/4, but extremely 4/4. Like, it's super cool. It's really kooky. The vocal lines especially are very kooky. But not as kooky as Mr. Know-It-All, another new one.
Yes, it should be illegal for an album to have this many bangers, although you can argue they cheated a little bit. It's this. I like this, like how they set you up with the first 3 songs, and then it's just like a little bit more unusual with Mr. Know-It-All.
Definitely. What was it? A lot of these, it says here on their wiki, a lot of these guitar melodies are written by Todd Huth, the original guitar player. And that's actually interesting. But it specifies, because most of the songs from the last album, those guitar lines were written by Huth. But on the new ones, we got all original Larry LaLonde lines, and you can tell like there's something really distinct about his choices, and he's got a really interesting solo style, and I think it's pretty awesome. You got You Can't Kill Michael Malloy, which is a 25-second long circus transition track that I wish was longer because it's amazing.
There's so many this short songs that probably don't even need to be their own tracks.
They don't, but I wish they were.
They are.
Sellington Willoughby, which is like a recurring joke callback that we'll get on many albums. That's another transition track, and it's also delightfully odd, really quirky and fun. But yeah, we got Pudding Time again as well, which is, rules. We got Spaghetti Western, which is a newer one. What the hell is happening on Spaghetti Western?
One of the coolest drum beats on the album.
100%.
Yeah. I will say on Pudding Time, for music, I have this idea of like drums and bass being like locked in together. But the way Claypool and Alexander lock in together, it's just like, it's like they're copying each other instead of just like, we're going to play the notes at the same time.
You mean on the chorus of Pudding Time?
He's just going to play like toms and like get his kick to like match what Claypool is doing. And it's just a beautiful thing. It
is a beautiful thing. The way the drums can follow, can pull rhythm with guitar or bass depending on what the hell happens next. Because it's not a very traditional rock band, obviously, but yet it's just bizarre how tight they are, given how weird and crazy they are. And with a style like Les's, you'd expect with that much tapping and that many notes for a bass that it would become sloppy, and you would hear, like he does a lot of really fast tapping, which is like. You have to be good or else you're going to lose time, and it never loses time. And that's the most impressive part, because tapping, you can put, if you're a guitar player, you already know you can tap pretty fast, but what I can't wrap my head around is his galloping. His galloping is fucking just superb. The way, it looks fake the way he does it. Because it sounds like there's no way his fingers are moving that fast. And he's a legit bass player. But, and then the final new song, I guess we got, and it's not even officially part of the album, it's just a bonus track, is the cover of Hello Skinny Constantinople from The Residents.
Yeah. The Constantinople part is amazing.
Yeah. I like the whole thing. I think it's pretty rad. Never heard the original version. I can't imagine
I didn't even know it was the cover.
Yeah. I had to look that up afterward, but The Residents have literally like 60 albums. So there's I'm going to hold off on that one for a while. I've only heard one Residents album, but Yeah, it's great. It's great. The production is really stripped down. It's really kind of bare bones. It doesn't sound much better than the live album, honestly.
Mhm.
It almost sounds worse than the live album. It's just a slower album. I think overall it's much slower. It starts off slower. It's a much longer album. There's the pacing. It doesn't really kind of keep you going with this momentum that Suck on This had. There's a lot more peaks and valleys. It slows it down quite a bit throughout the album. So I don't know, it's rules, but the pacing doesn't do it for me as much.
One of those more bang for your buck albums for me.
Yeah. So this is interesting. According to Tom, he says Lance Link Montoya created the sculpture on the album cover. He's also responsible for the sculptures on Suck on This, Sailing Seas of Cheese, Pork Soda, Tales from the Punchbowl, and Animals Should Not Try to Act Like People. I didn't realize Tales from the Punchbowl had a sculpture, and the same with Animals Should Not Try to Act Like People, because I think that's one of the coolest covers ever.
Yeah, I know for Tales, there's different album art.
Yeah, the official one, the green one, I think is honestly their worst album cover. I can't even figure out what it's supposed to be. The other one with the boat is very cool.
Yeah. No, that's not the worst. I think the worst is either Brown or Antipop.
I don't mind Antipop at all. I think that's a cool cover.
I think it's like too
Tim Burton-y?
No. It's too busy and looks too modern, where like this
it's like digital art. You're right.
Yeah, where this Montoya guy, like the claymation and Primus just like go
perfectly
like
together.
a glove for some reason.
But I stand by that original Tales from the Punchbowl, the green one with the big, like, I don't understand what it's supposed to be, so I can't even process it.
There's a lot of album covers.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
But Tom goes on to say, he says, according to a piece from 2009 in the Hundreds magazine, Link later fell out with the band. Maybe there would have been more collaborations. And he asked, which sculpture is your favorite? I think I have to go with Pork Soda.
Yeah.
So Pork Soda is his favorite. Which one's yours?
Yeah.
Pork Soda as well?
I'm a Tom, yeah.
Mine's Frizzle Fry.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
wow.
I think that's my favorite of the sculptures.
Which is crazy because Cheese, I think, is by far the most masterful.
I think Cheese is probably the best.
Yeah.
The thing is, I think someone else sculpted the ship. I think someone else made the ship, but the rest of it, that's all Link.
We're doing best personal, worst, least favorite on just album art.
They're interesting though. They're super interesting. Personal favorite, Frizzle Fry best. But now we're on. Yeah. You know what? There's one more thing here. Co-producer of Frizzle Fry, Matt Exon Winiger, would also go on to work with Simple Plan and Coding Cambria. Interesting overlap there.
I've tried Coheed and Cambria, and I don't get it.
I have never given them a chance, and
they have the one song, the one fucking like rocking song, and I was like, I want more of that. And then I can't with the dude's vocals.
Oh, all right. Well, now I'm interested, but skeptical. We'll see if one day I hear them or listen to them. But yeah, time to the album that blew them up pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. This is 1991's Sailing the Seas of Cheese. I'm glad you didn't skip this because I can't separate this intro from the opener.
I thought about it, but I don't know. I love when they use the stand-up bass.
It also it's a wonderful intro.
Also, as a child, I was a fan of the Stinky Cheesehead Man books. Is that what they're called?
That sounds familiar, vaguely
Which feel like Primus. Like I'm amazed Primus has not recorded a Stinky Cheesehead
interesting
album.
Here we go, baby. Ooh, those drums. The drum sound on this album is pretty phenomenal. That's another example of the Primus riff that comes to mind.
Yeah.
The Primus riff, yeah.
This little guy look like a Primus album cover though?
Yeah, it does. I never heard of that, but it does. Stick to cheese, man. So you can hear with the vocals in this album are recorded pretty weird. It sounds like they're what's that reverb? Damn, I forgot the name of the reverb, but it sounds like it's in a bathroom.
Yes.
Plate reverb, that's what I'm thinking of.
Here they come. Here they come. Here they come. Here they come.
All right, so that song is great, and it continues to be great and gets bigger and louder.
Also a good example of how they get maximum quality on what seems like minimal stuff going on. It's just
It's just the three. Best. I can't believe we agree. I'm glad we agreed. I almost tried to deny this album. For a split second, I was like, am I going to deny it? No, I'm not going to deny this album. It
was always in contention.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's perfectly paced.
Yep.
Every song fucking rules.
Yep.
I think I like other albums just a little bit better because they cater more to my taste.
Yep. 100%. Yeah, get it.
But that's just nitpicky stuff. This is phenomenal.
This is flawless. Like, so I have like a different personal favorite, but it's only because this one is executed, I think, better than every other album. And other albums are great, and there's like a few others I can point to, like that's probably a best as well. But there's too many things that this one has going all at once.
The other ones I wanted to give it to, I'm like, there's a weak point.
There's a little structural foundation in the architecture.
Yeah.
There's like, but this one, it's airtight.
Yeah.
It's fucking so.
You don't skip any. You don't
skip any song. So
anything.
The pacing is one of the best. It's up there with Suck on This and another one that I think have like flawless pacing.
I will a side note that has nothing to do with the album. I thought the Wikipedia would be like, this is one of the like most fascinating, biggest albums ever. And there's just like the Wikipedia is bare bones.
It's a damn travesty.
Yeah.
Ridiculous because so it's not so it's paced well in the sense that every song feels really good following the one that came before it, which is hard to pull off. But also the diversity here, it's not just so like we're Suck on This. It's like, this is what we got. We're heavy. We're kooky. We're crazy. We're gonna keep your energy up. This is it's a kind of like a going high speed kind of album. And then Frizzle Fry expands it. It gets deeper. It gets longer songs, a little bit more experimental, but still very heavy. This one is where they start playing with really mature melodies, like American Life. Dude.
Yeah. That song could just be the bass and vocals, really, and it would still fucking rule.
Here's the thing. Even though the bass and vocals are so prominent and they're so characteristic, Larry's guitar choices on that song absolutely make it for me.
The final minute.
Oh,
the guitar playing is just great.
Incredible. I think comes in around like 3:35 or so. But like, it's just the really memorable lines, like across the whole album. Like Larry's choices are really spot on. I don't think it's his best album, but it's where he starts to really shine. And really excellent understated drums. The double kick on that song feels so good. It's kind of what I was talking about, where he's not double kicking all over the place. It's just little spots, like in the chorus, where he just decides to go do. He decides to do that every once in a while, and that little do just kind of like sticks with you. One of my favorite Primus songs of all time is Sgt. Baker, which, Jesus Christ, man, I fucking love that song so much.
Those drums are so nuts, and also I feel like sometimes in music you have this thing where a song is weird or it's high energy, and it's hard to do both. But Sgt. Baker is like Yeah, throw that on when you're working out or
Yeah.
going on a jog or something.
It kicks that much ass while still being very kooky.
Yes.
And of course we got, I mean, what are we going to talk about? Jerry was a race car driver.
See, if
What can we
you're
say?
my age, if you're in your 30s and you picked up a Tony Hawk Pro Skater, this song fucking just sticks out like a sore thumb.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, that was probably my first, like, actually, it was the South Park song, but I was,
of course, South Park. Yeah.
but like, where I like knew this was Primus, and it just like, I think there's only like 5 or 6 songs on there. I was like, this is the only good song on. I forgot Dead Kennedys was on there. I forgot
That's right. Yeah.
the Vandals and Suicide. There's some
A lot of good punk bands on there.
yeah, but like, whoever decided to put that song on that soundtrack, good on you.
Oh yeah. Changed a lot of young boys' lives.
And then it was so crazy to me finding out it's not Les Claypool saying "Dog Will Hunt."
Yeah. It's a sample from where?
Some movie.
I believe it's on here. I think Tom noted here.
Texas
Texas
Chainsaw.
Massacre. I've seen that movie a lot. I
Is
don't
it one
remember
of the
that.
sequels?
No, it just says Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And
it's so weird to sample it because Les Claypool could say it exactly.
I was convinced it was him though
Yeah.
for years. But I mean, yeah, it's an incredible song. And another one where, I mean, obviously the main bass line is this crazy kooky fucking thing. And then Larry's guitar comes in, and then it's all of a sudden it has a different twist to it. It has a different feel to it. It's weird and kind of ugly and unsettling. It's just little things like that where every member changes how the song feels whenever they join in.
Mhm.
And there's only 3 people. It's really impressive.
It's also without a doubt their heaviest song. I don't think anything gets as big and crunchy as Race Car Driver.
Oh, I
does.
disagree. I think
Really?
they get much heavier. Yeah.
I mean, there's like heavy, but this is like,
Well, with the big fuzzy bass and stuff,
Yeah.
I still think they get heavier, but that is a really very cool section, that whole big chunk at the end when it gets very heavy. I don't even know what the hell that effect is around 250 with that.
oh
that
yeah,
weird little.
it reminds me of like a roller coaster going on.
Oh yeah. 11 is another classic.
Jesus Christ.
Those drums in the intro are so musical.
The percussion is so fucking good. And yeah, who like goes, we're going to record a song in 11/8.
Is that why it's called that?
I think it is.
I think so. I think it's 11.
Yeah.
Wait.
Well, that's what I read on the interwebs. I wasn't actually counting it out.
I think it's 12.
The interwebs told me it was 11/8. Some music nerd can figure this out.
No, it's 11. You're right. Holy
Okay.
shit. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Also,
11/8.
while you were doing it, I was like, it kind of sounds like a Metallica riff. Some
Oh,
parts.
Metallica did do a lot
Yeah.
of time signature stuff in
Like-
the early days.
And Injustice for All era Metallica.
Oh
riff.
yeah. Yeah, really memorable vocals on 11. He sounds like some like phantom like wails from Les. It's very cool. And then if you want the full crazy batshit nutty stuff, then you got Is It Luck? Because holy balls, that bass line.
That's the first. Well, like I would assume they listen to. There's just something about them. I think the fact that they're like a trio and the bass is so like. I would just assume they listen to the Police, but
Yeah, there's a lot
is
of
this
comparisons.
Luck?
Is It Luck? Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I can hear it.
Oh, you can hear the Police on that?
I can. It's like
Check that episode.
like bonk. That's they take their favorites and they like primasize it or whatever. Yeah.
I don't hear the Police at all. I'm interested that you do because I don't love the Police and I do love that song. So that's cool.
I think did I think of Peanuts when I
Oh God. There's so many Police songs that just straight up stink. And if you're denying it, you're an asshole. And then this version of Tommy the Cat, which I think is just perfect.
I mean, you got Tom Waits on it now.
Tom Waits on Tommy the Cat?
Now I'm like,
I don't think so.
Mike's making me second guess
Really?
my notes.
Maybe he is. Yeah, you're right.
Okay, good.
Oh, now, so I didn't realize I had no idea. I thought that was goddamn Les. That's fucking Tom Waits. Guess what? Love it more now. Love it
There
more
you
now.
go. There you go. Yeah.
I am digging my heels in as this being the better version. Because it's all distorted and shit.
Yeah.
I figured it was just, that's what they would do. They just distort it and give you the impression of a different character. It's fucking Tom Waits.
Yeah.
That's so cool. That's so cool.
Who would come back?
He would come back later on. Yeah, I love this version of it. I love especially the bass choices at the very tail end of the song. And then Larry's solo. It's just remarkable. It's impossible to categorize his solo style too. Sathington Waltz is another callback of Sathington Willoughby. It's a transition track that sounds like it's constantly about to fall apart. It's very cool.
And then, yeah, you need a banger right after all that weirdness with those damn blue colored tweakers.
Oh, dude, that's the final two songs are real epics. Like they feel like it's what I keep saying. Like the writing feels way more mature here. Maybe not the lyrics because they're still pretty kooky, but like just the types of riffs that these are. It's like, oh, it's not just mean and heavy, and it's not just funny and kooky. It's like it's this really interesting, well thought out thing in the middle.
Well, I think Fish On is the first time, like in their career, where I'm like, oh, this is like surreal and dreamy and maybe flirting a little bit with some psychedelic stuff.
Yeah, with that really, really cool fretless bass sound on that song.
And
really slidey.
I feel like the drums are also kind of like the lead instrument on that.
They do carry a lot of weight.
Yeah.
A lot of weight. There's a shift around 5 minutes in, and that's one of the kookiest things there. It's really fast with this bouncy, watery bass.
Yeah.
It's fucking, and the drums on that part are just absolutely incredible.
That bass is the sea of cheese.
Yeah, it's exactly what it sounds like. Holy crap. The closer is Los Bastardos, which is just like it's a reprise of Here Come the Bastards, but it's got a bunch of guests on it, and it's way more chaotic. It's a shorter outro kind of version of it. Who's on it? I want to see. Mike Borden from Faith No More is on it. Jay Lane, he's on it. He's actually on several tracks.
What do they call his drum? 2 skin, 4 skin drum.
Two skin, 4 skin drum. That's what they call it. Matt Winiger, Mike Borden, and Brain Mantia. Yeah, they're both on the closer, which is very interesting. Oh, and according to Tom here, it says the wiki entry neglects to mention that Matt Winiger's accordion contributions are credited as accordion molestation. Lovely.
That's pretty funny.
That's pretty funny. So around this time period is when they played Pink Pop, Dynamo, and Roskilde festivals for the first time. And this when Les started to use his electric upright bass live. They toured with Anthrax and Public Enemy in their full multi-venue, multi-band tour. And then they played Henry J. Kaiser Arena for the first time.
You left out that they opened for U2.
They opened for U2? Oh, gross. that was a year later. That's in 92. They released Miscellaneous Debris. Miscellaneous Debris. Tom says that he remembers owning this on CD. They do a mean version of Peter Gabriel's Intruder.
That's what we were talking about.
Yeah, that's one of the EPs. They've been covering Intruder for a long time. We saw them in 2018, I think, with Mastodon, and they covered it with all the members of Mastodon, which was super cool.
Also, Danny Carey came out as well.
Danny Carey was there too?
Yes.
Oh shit! Yeah,
as an army of drummers.
Yeah.
I remember because he made a joke that they were like, the venue was yelling at them for going along, and they needed to wrap it up. And he was like, okay, we're just going to play Rush's 2112.
Oh, yeah. Just one more song, folks. And in 92, they opened for both Rush on Roll the Bones tour, and then U2, and they played several landmark venues for the first time, including the Greek Theater, Lis's favorite venue, where we saw them. Last time we saw them.
Was his favorite venue.
Great venue.
It's also like, maybe... Yeah, I think it is my favorite.
Really?
Yeah.
It's great. It is great. It's my favorite outdoor venue for sure.
I mean, yeah, I haven't been to too many venues outside of LA, but that like takes the cake for me. It's the perfect size.
Good size.
It always sounds great.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And they also did Red Rocks in Colorado, which is basically heaven if it were a stage.
One day I'm gonna do it.
Yeah,
Maybe this year.
that's where the South Park
That
anniversary
makes
thing was.
sense.
Yeah,
Because I'm gonna see somebody in Red Rocks. I don't know who.
someone. And then in '92 was the first ever NYE Freakout, which becomes a thing for a while. But yeah, dude, this album absolutely rules. It's kind of flawless. I mean, if whatever you wouldn't like about it, it's got to just be a taste thing, because structurally, this is it's so well constructed. It's so well paced. It's such a big leap musically from the last album. It feels years later. I mean, Frizzle Fry was great and it has really memorable songs on there, but these types of songs feel so much more developed.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just absolutely wonderful. But we are far from done. So are you ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
Hell yeah. So here we go, baby. This is 1993's Pork Soda.
I know it's called a little ditty, and there's the full version.
Yeah.
I want like a full.
There is a full, I mean, it's the end of the album.
Well,
It's longer.
longer. But
Yeah, it's very short. Oh, baby. Ooh.
it's good. Talk about punch you in the face music.
Oh, yeah.
I also like any song where you can get the snare on the upbeat.
Yeah. Oh, this feels so good. This rhythmically is in my head every day of my life. This specific rhythm, because of this song.
I'll do my little "My Name Is Mud" tidbit after, because I don't want to talk over the whole thing.
Yeah.
What a time to be alive where this could be a radio hit.
I know. Jeez. Oh, it feels so good. I feel it in my soul.
Yeah.
Oh. Killer. So, holy balls, that's an opener.
Personal favorite.
Personal favorite. Holy crap, we had the same picks.
Yeah.
Dude.
So that song, also "Kiss Him Upside the Head," or the cranium with an aluminum baseball bat, has got to be one of the top 10 Primus lyrics.
Great lyrics. Yeah.
So there was this wrestling group called Sanity, and they came out and like their theme hit so fucking hard. I was like, why does it fucking hit hard? What is going on here? And then I just realized I'm gonna play it because they just fucking lifted.
Oh, really?
Do we got volume?
Yeah.
It's just "My Name Is Mud."
Oh, shit.
So whoever thought like "My Name Is Mud" would make an excellent wrestling entrance song, they're right. They're fucking right.
Very plucky bass, that's for sure.
I didn't remember it took this long though.
Yeah. Different rhythm, but it's heavily, you could tell. Yeah, heavily inspired.
Heavily.
Yeah. It's a different rhythm, but you can hear the similarities.
So yeah, I was just like, what is that theme? And then I realized like they should have just paid for the Primus song.
They probably a lot.
I don't give a fuck.
I don't give a fuck either. Yeah.
I don't give a fuck. That company has money, anyways.
Dude,
I digress.
This I think by far this is the best produced Primus album None of them hit as hard as this one. There's something really full and punchy about like when that song. I mean, when all the instruments come in, it feels so warm and like the last album sounded great and other albums sound great, but it's like I referenced this album to death when it comes to perfect production. Double Nickels on a Dime from the Minutemen, where it's like you find a production style that's perfect for a band.
Mhm.
It's not going to, you put that production style on a different band, it's going to sound weird and stupid. But that album for the Minutemen is a perfect production. The way I feel this album, that's how I feel about this album. This production is perfect for this band.
Mhm.
And also the songs rule. And I think it's the heaviest and most sinister and darkest that they've ever been.
Yeah. It's also weird because I realize there's like a sense of whimsy about Primus, but it's not like a traditional whimsical. It's very specific to them, and I get that on a song like "Welcome to This World."
Yeah, that was also was used in a South Park episode. I remember.
Was it?
Yeah, and it was quite funny, but it's like really weird when you're watching South Park and then a full Primus song comes on.
Yeah, it's also interesting where there's a part where it sounds like it could be a Korn song, and there's like tribal drumming.
I already know it's around 150. You know what I thought of?
Yeah,
it sounded like it's something out of fucking Mortal Kombat 2.
Oh yeah,
like
yeah,
really,
that makes sense too.
It sounds like it's really eerie. It's really mean. It's kind of crawly. Those kind of tribal. What toms are they? They're tiny toms. The ones that have really high.
Roto toms.
There we go. Tim uses a lot of those. He uses a lot of splash cymbals.
Mhm.
It's kind of like a really defining characteristic of his style. Is how he uses those. It sounds absolutely incredible there. And then the song is also like their most paranoid song ever, which is saying a lot for this band. They have a lot of paranoid songs.
I mean, they released an EP called
Conspiranoid.
I think that one came in late and took the title of most paranoid away.
It took the title, but and it is a very good song. But I think in terms of like you're pulling just a really schizophrenic paranoid riff, the main riff to Welcome to This World. I mean, it doesn't get any more kooky and circusy than that.
Okay. I like, it used to bother me at first, but I like that DMV sounds like Jerry was a race car driver. It's like the songs about cars. It's almost like a sequel in some ways.
It's like it's a much meaner and more evil sounding, but it's still very much a really complicated bass tapping riff. But we're not skipping over Bob because I think it's my favorite Primus song of all time.
That is unsettling to open with, and I love how the guitars sound like sirens.
Bob, I think, is a perfect song. Perfect. It's one of their darkest and like genuinely dark riffs because like we said before, almost all the riffs, whenever they go dark, they have like a sense of cap to them. There's like a little bit of like kookiness. That one is just dark and just dark and catchy. And Larry's guitar lines add a whole lot to it. Like without those guitar lines, it wouldn't be the same thing. Really dark lyrics, of course, but it's so underrated. I mean, the fact that that's not in every Primus conversation upsets me. It's fucking incredible. It's Bob is perfect.
All right. Fucking Bob. I think a song that's like really unique is Old Diamond
Sturgeon.
It's just, I feel like they flirt with math rock.
No, you're right. Diamondback. My bad.
Yeah. I feel like they flirt with like math rock, but here it just reminds me of something a smaller like independent band would be doing like in the early 2000s. And it's just like, here's Primus doing it in 1993.
So my problem with this album is the reason why this didn't get best is because of the pacing, and that is entirely because of Old Diamondback Sturgeon and Nature Boy.
You're crazy.
So
Although I do feel like Nature Boy is not like an amazing song.
I like Nature Boy more than Old Diamondback Sturgeon.
Yeah,
but I still think it just puts a wrench in the pacing of it. Like because after that, the album gets fucking crazy again.
Yeah,
but that's a really lengthy chunk right in the middle.
I just think the playing is like so unique and interesting on Diamondback that
for Diamondback, for one, I think we should probably note it's like one of the few light songs on here. It actually has like a hopeful melody to it. It's
Also,
one of the few ones on the entire album.
Also,
that does
it's
that.
part of the Fisherman's
It is
Chronicles.
part of the Fisherman. It's part 3 of the Fisherman's Chronicles. I just don't care for the song that much, and it gets very jammy as it goes on. It's like I appreciate that it doesn't feel like any other song in here, but it's placement in the album, because after those 2 songs, you get Wounded Knee, which is, I mean, it's like
This
it's listed as it's just an instrumental song, but it's way more than that. It is one of the most incredible percussion driven songs ever.
Yeah, Primus is one of the few bands that could legitimately like bring in a xylophone, and it fits. I don't know how many songs we've talked about on xylophones. I think it's more than I can count at this point.
Maybe.
But most of the times it's like a cute little gimmick. Here it's just like I wouldn't want to hear the song without it.
Yeah, it becomes very organic somehow. And Wounded Knee is, I mean, if I'm going to point to any example of why Tim's the greatest, then Wounded Knee. I mean, alone. I mean, holy shit. The title track is, I mean, it sounds like a fucking cow. I mean,
the title track is also, if I want to be nitpicky, like what I think is like a weaker thing. It does feel more like a novelty. It's fine. I think like if you want to talk about like weird, unique things on this album, like Mr. Crinkle just like outshines it by
Mr. Crinkle is,
so much.
Even the video of that is pretty fucking creepy and cool.
Yeah. And we alluded to it a little earlier when talking about, they have like their more famous songs. I think even amongst their most famous songs, like Miss Crinkle is just like, I don't think there's really anything else.
It's fantastic. For one, he's playing an upright bass. He's using a bow, and it's so heavy and fucked up, and it just has this, again, because of the production is so stellar and the drums feel so good on this album. Around 340, where it goes double time, it's like, it's just so good. It just feels so fucking perfect.
Also, he wrote like a hooky, memorable thing on the stand-up.
I mean, it wouldn't be the first time. He does it plenty of times later. Yeah,
like you know what's coming.
Yeah,
the song. And
yeah, later on he'll return to a lot of bowed upright bass, and it's fucking great. The Pressman is back. This version is a lot more atmospheric and spacious.
And it works really well on the. I'm glad they held off on this album.
Yeah,
right?
It sounds really good here. Actually, when you were talking about the title track, so I like the song. I think it's hilarious and bizarre, and it's one of the craziest songs. But I still see that as a point of bad pacing in the album. I still see that as like, if you're not on board with the ridiculousness of the song, that's also going to disrupt the pacing. So again, it's not like, this is not quite as undeniable as the last album. There's still moments where like, I mean, Nature Boy's cool, but does it really warrant 5.5 minutes? That kind of thing, like in the middle of the album like that.
That's the Nature Boy song that plays when Ric Flair exposes himself to unexpecting women.
So Nightly then.
Yeah, Nightly. That's what they were talking about.
What was it? The Air Is Getting Slippery is wonderful. I mean, it's complete novelty shanty music.
I'm sure. Yes, shanty. I always specifically that song, maybe because there's this like storytelling, like cartoon element with Primus. It made me think of that scene in Dumbo's where they get drunk and with the like bubble elephants.
Oh, I never saw Dumbo.
God damn it, Mike.
I was just talking about that recently, about how I haven't seen Dumbo and how I should watch Dumbo. I don't
even feel like, yeah, you need to see that movie. I'm just like, amazed.
Yeah, I got no defense.
Like,
that's pretty much it.
There's 100 other movies you can watch. I'm this amaze you in your childhood without watching it.
It's gonna be hard to start to decide to watch Dumbo in my 30s. I'm going to, but it's gonna take a minute.
Do it. I throw on random things all the time.
That's true. I just recently watched with my lady, Sword in the Stone for the first time.
There you go.
And adorable movie.
Are you guys going to watch Black Culture next? That's a nice little gem.
I don't know that one.
Check it out.
There it is.
animated Disney movies that are like medieval fantasy movies.
Oh,
That's-
it's fun. It's fun stuff.
yeah.
Another fun stuff thing, aside from the Arrows Getting Slippery, which is, I mean, by the way, it has banjo on there, banjo and upright bass. It's one of their best novelty songs. I think it's one of their best novelty songs. And I kind of love most of their, if not all their novelty songs. But Hamburger Train, and this might not be a popular opinion, my favorite Primus closer.
Interesting. I like it. But it is 100% a showcase for Larry, which
Yep.
is good.
It is Larry's time to shine, and he deserves it.
Yes.
But there's something like, because it's for one, it's 8 minutes long. It's 8 minutes long and it's instrumental.
Mhm.
It's which they've never done anything like that again. 8 minutes long, instrumental, really jammy. But the jamminess is Larry doing just insane shit all over the place.
It gets deranged.
Yep.
Yeah,
It's crazy Larry shit, and the most steady, unwavering, unchanging 4/4 beat with this really nutty bass line.
Mhm.
And it's weirdly addicting. Like, you put on like the first seconds of this song, I'm already sitting down on board, ready to hear the whole thing. Like, there's something about it as a closer. It just feels so perfect. I absolutely adore that song. It does technically end with 2 more outros, which feel pretty unnecessary. The full version of Pork Chop's Little Ditty, which is a minute long, it's not really a full version.
It is all, in fairness, it is called a little ditty.
It is called a little ditty.
It's not meant to.
not a big ditty.
I want a big ditty. not in the way that he put himself on those women. But
Oh, who isn't these days? Jesus Christ.
yeah,
And then it closes with Hail Santa, which is a 2-minute nonsense upright bass notes and bicycle bell outro. It's cute. I don't mind it, but it's pretty unnecessary.
yeah,
I think it could have just ended with Hamburger Training. It would have been wonderful, but
it's fine. It's short.
yeah, it's short. But yeah, if it wasn't for the pacing in the middle, this would be an easy best, but it's still the one I prefer the most, the one that kind of pumps me up the most, the one I think has the best production, the most fucked up and twisted and sinister writing out of everything. It's just amazing.
Twisted with a Z, bro.
Yeah, dog. It also feels much more like a unit. Like, I feel like this is their performance peak. I think as like the 3 dudes, everybody was at the top of their game here. Like, Tim and Larry are shining here more than ever. I think it's just it came together very nicely, and both of our personal favorites. And what tattoo is on Les's head, you ask? His head, or is that hand? I wonder if that's a typo. It's a picture of Skeeter, and the caption says "Skeeters suck too." He also has a tattoo on his right shoulder. Nope, it's on his head, right below the Skeeter one on his head, of the cat in the hat with a plate of green eggs and ham. Okay, he's fucking crazy. Is it true Les is deaf in 1 year? According to an article in Bass Player magazine, Les lost half of his hearing in his right ear in a driving accident. Les says it sucks. When I go to listen to studio playback through headphones, I think, what's the point? Holy crap.
That's insane.
That is insane. How did Herb's nickname come about? Apparently it's for many reasons. First, there was at least one other Tim in Primate/Primus, Tim Wright. Also, Herb has a fondness for herbal remedies and is quite a health nut, at least according to Les. All right, so that's Herb. The sample from in My Name Is Mud is from Deliverance. The
Of
Where You
course.
Going, City Boy?
Of course it is.
Of course, you're going to pick a line from one of the most disturbing movies to put on the most disturbing Primus album.
Also, let me just say, a lot of people, I've probably done this before, apologies if you're tired of hearing about Deliverance. A lot of people like to talk about the movie. The book is oddly beautifully written.
Really?
A fucking breeze to read.
Interesting. That movie is tough.
It's tough, but let me tell you, the book gets overlooked. And I just wanted to say
All right. Okay.
that. I forget the author's name, but that man has a way with words.
Oh, interesting. The sample on Hamburger Train is by Paul Rubens, Pee Wee Herman, from Cheech and Chong's Nice Dreams. And apparently Wounded Knee is like directly about Wounded Knee.
Oh,
according to her.
who would have thought?
Who would have thought? Yeah. He said, what did he say about the rhythm here? He says, next time you listen to Wounded Knee, try and put the story and the music together, the rhythm and the pulse. There is an element of that, element of it that is angry than peaceful. very much mimicking the horrible historical event that it's named after. This was mastered by John Golden, who has plenty of credits, over 4,000 credits, some notable and eclectic ones.
I was going to say, I like how it goes funk music, which makes sense. Like indie punk metal stuff, which makes sense. So it's like, yeah, Primus.
Bill Withers, Earth, Wind & Fire, Quincy Jones, Rick James, Merle Haggard, Albert King, Firehose, Meat Puppets, Minuteman, check out that episode. Screaming Trees, Faith No More, Green River, check out that episode. Rollins Band, St. Vitus, check out that episode. Green Day, G.G. Allen, Primus. Interesting.
Shout out to Quincy Jones for writing the Stanford and Son theme.
You mean Sanford and Son?
Oh, sorry, yeah. Greatest thing he's ever written.
Everything, yeah, by far. In 93, Primus co-headlined the third Lollapalooza with Alice in Chains.
Is that one he walked out in a rooster costume when they were playing Rooster and Jerry Cantrell got angry?
Is that what happened?
And he's like, this is a fucking serious song about my father.
That is way funnier. That is, yes, especially because it's a serious song about his father. What are you doing? You can't take yourself that fucking seriously when you're sharing a stage with Primus. You can't. It's too funny.
Also, I saw pictures of what Jerry Cantrell got Dimebag for Christmas. And brother, that's a lot of blow. If you're doing that much blow,
it was a time to be alive, apparently.
Ease up a little bit.
God damn. Probably was so fucking wound up. It says they also played UK's Writing Festival for the first time. They headlined a theater tour for the first time with Melvin's opening. Check out all those episodes. Hell yeah. And then 93 was also the second annual Freakout. 94, before this next album, Tim formed Laundry and released the Black Tongue album. Lara formed Beanpole, although no material was formally released. And then around that time, Primus opened for Rush again. Les sat in with Fish, which is bizarre.
Don't like to talk about that band.
Yeah. And he also his first time collaborating with Trey Anastasio, which would lead to Oysterhead in 2000, one of the side projects. Also, Larry's fucking guitar setup on this album is out there if you want to check it out. He is using a lot of stuff. I didn't realize he's using 2 Boss digital delays as well as a Big Muff, which is very interesting.
Might as well call that the Boss Baby setup. Sorry, I know.
I appreciate the effort.
Yeah.
But he's plugged into a bass head and a Marshall. Holy crap. But yeah, you can find that stuff online. It's pretty wild. I never really thought about like some of the setups that these guys use in the studio. I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot of power.
Never been a gear nerd, so I just...
Neither have I. Which is actually one of my sad...
That's funny
because of life. I
think you're too particular to be one. Like
I would take 3 years to decide on what I wanted.
Yes, yeah. You would be like Q-Tip producing an album. You just would not make a decision.
Yeah, because there's so much that it's important to know about gear if you're a musician, but I would just get obsessed with it. You know what? It's the same kind of anxiety I get thinking about gear as if I have to choose a font for something. Like, oh, come on. I have to, first of all, I have to look through every single one before I decide.
Let's go Arial.
Just go Arial. Let's go Arial Black if you want to make it bold.
Yeah. 12.
12 point Arial Black.
Can't go wrong.
No. But I think it's time to move on. Now for the last album with Tim for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, another big album. So let's do it, baby. This is 1995's Tales from the Punchbowl. Now, this album, this song, rather, is going to take a good minute to start.
Should I fast forward? I should have.
Nah. Let's go with the journey like we have with the rest. It does have very cool bass stuff in the beginning, though.
I wanted to give this one personal. I think it speaks more to my general preferences in music.
All right, let's dive into that after. Not a big fan of the fake live sounds in music. I don't know how you feel about that.
I'm fine. Like it's over. I guess we could thank the Beatles for that.
Oh yeah. Ugh. I like the Beatles, but it always just made things annoying to me having the fake live sound.
Typo negative.
Did they do that?
They did. Yeah.
The second album, right?
It's been so
I think it's the second album, yeah. That was bad. This is cool, though. This is a very lengthy intro, very lengthy opener. It goes a lot of places, but this. Oh, it's so cool. What a mean riff. That is a chunky bass.
That is, yeah.
And it gets chunkier as soon as the vocals come in. Les is more of a cartoony redneck hillbilly more than ever.
I mean, it's looking at some of these songs, you're like, of course he is.
Yeah.
But
This album in particular, like the whole thing, really.
continuing the trend of musicians from the Bay Area wishing they were from the South.
Oh yeah, we didn't even say where they're from.
They're from the Bay Area.
And there it is. We mentioned it a good hour into the episode.
I thought
hour and a half
You
into
said when he was running around with Kurt Hammett.
Kirk Hammett, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't mention it specifically, but I guess,
Yeah.
I didn't put it together. This album, well, this is another big album. I think very good album. Paced the worst, I think, since Frizzle Fry.
I love this album because it's the most psychedelic,
Oh.
but it is a flawed album, but I still love it.
My favorite, go ahead.
I was gonna say like the biggest song off here, was known as Big Brown Beaver.
Yeah.
Is kind of an outlier.
It kind of is, because it is a really, I mean, it's like warehouse hillbilly music. It's a very, it's heavy and it's really, really catchy. That main bass line is kind of genius.
It's so fun.
It's so good, but it is weirdly rocking compared to the rest of the album, because I think the main characteristic about this whole record, the production here is cold, live, spacious, dark, huge. Like every song, even songs that don't have particularly mean or dark riffs, feel like it. Like Mrs. Baleen, like that feels really pissed off and mean and dark.
Yeah.
But it's not, if you listen to the riff, it's actually kind of a hokey riff, but everything is produced so cold and dark. So the whole album just feels extra sinister.
You know what that does work on? And one of, like, in the top 5 for me is Southbound.
Pachyderm, I had a feeling you were going to say that.
That is not only one of the greatest Primus songs ever written, it's also one of the greatest Tool songs ever written.
Is it?
No, I'm just joking around because
it's like a Tool.
It's very similar to Tool.
It's really the more atmospheric than they've been in a while.
Yeah, I don't think there's really another Primus song like that.
No,
and I love that the music video is just claymation and weird and sad and amazing, and yeah,
it's really fucking cool. Like the production on that song is like a perfect example, because like the song itself is dark, but it's not like it would be on Pork Soda dark. Those riffs were like fucking twisted. Southbound Pachyderm is not that disturbing, but it feels that dark because of the way it's played and the way it's produced.
I think Pork Soda is a meaner album, and this is more like twisted and sinister.
I think the opposite. I think that one's more twisted and sinister, but this one just feels like it because of the way it's produced. Like, because it like, that's what I mean with songs like, the only thing that's so I'm talking over myself, but like, Glass Sandwich, for example, where it is 100% haunted house, hokey, spooky, but that production, it feels way less silly than it might. I think it might feel on a different album.
I really dig it. I think
It's a great song.
Yeah, I think it works. I love how tight those tom fills and the snare rolls are. They sync up with the guitar.
Great guitar choice in that chorus too.
I love anytime you can do like a dizzying guitar riff where you feel like you're doing like a high wire act.
Yeah, like a monochromatic scale kind of thing.
That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah. Is monochromatic? No, that's one color. Chromatic, whatever.
Whatever Mike says.
Part of the word was correct. I'll take that. One of my favorite Primus songs of all time that I've never had anybody agree with me or even be on board when I had it playing in the car. Hellbound 17 and a half.
Dude, that song is awesome. It's like a jaunty bass line. Also, it's funny that you like to play it in the car because you get the sound effects of like
the car, the honking and all that.
Yeah.
Dude, it is nutty as shit. It's so fucking cool.
It kind of ends in a like car crash fashion. It just revs up and explodes.
It feels like a Ratfink Nightmare kind of thing where it does feel like that kind of, whenever you think of the Ratfink art style, I think of this music. If I'm picturing the cover of Junkyard by The Birthday Party, I'm thinking of this song.
Yeah, I think of The Birthday Party. I think about White Zombie or Robert Zombie.
Robert Zombie. Dude, I heard a hilarious thing from my brother that apparently he heard from Buzz, that Buzz said the worst tour that Melvins ever went on ever by far was with White Zombie.
Interesting.
And not only that, there was like I think it might have been a comment from somebody who saw that tour that White Zombie was playing and Rob was trying to climb onto the speaker or this monitor and he tripped. He fell backwards. The mic went flying. The vocals kept going.
Oh, wow.
So even in White Zombie, Rob Zombie lip sync, which is crazy.
Yeah. Was it the first time? How many times? I've seen him 2 or 3 times. I think the first time I was like, this sounds too good.
Yeah, it probably was.
I was like, there's no way.
Yeah.
There's no way.
My favorite thing though is like, listen to Rob Zombie's vocals. He needs help singing like that.
It's the same tone.
That's a good song though, from Airheads.
This is Primus was probably label mates with White Zombie at something. They were both on Caroline.
Oh yeah. Oh man. Other things about this album. It's a novelty transition track, but boy, do I love Space Farm. It's space pig noises with hillbilly music.
It is a goofy little song.
So this album also brings this is like the first, like, it's a good album, but I think it's their first not very good or great album.
I think after Glass Sandwich, there's some like good stuff, but it kind of
fizzles out.
Yeah.
My problem starts with You're the Parrot, because I think if it wasn't for Tim's incredible drums, that would be the most boring thing ever. He's really carrying the whole song for me. Really, really interesting drums and drum choices on there. But the other novelty song, Da Anza Jig.
That is the most hick vocals.
It's novelty bluegrass.
Yeah.
It kind of sounds like Kirk from Meat Puppets at a couple points. I love their goofy bullshit. I don't love that song.
It's part of who they... I think it's a fine song.
It's cute, but like every time they've done a novelty song, it's always been like musically really interesting too. That's just bluegrassy stuff.
That's what it is.
What was it? On the Tweak Again is another good one. It really kind of takes its time on that one. Really slidey, watery sounding bass. I dig that one a lot.
It's one of those subdued Primus songs where when they hit the peaks, it really hits.
Definitely. Over the Electric Grapevine, I think, is another one of their great closers. Probably one of the best closers.
Yeah, I always think it's interesting when they have the like lighter, floatier guitar riffs, and then there's some, as always, bonkers drumming going on.
Yeah, a lot of there's a hint of Middle Eastern in there. It sounds really good.
How is the Grapevine treating you these days?
Oh, dude, I take that stupid fucking road once a month or twice a month, and it is a nightmare. Last time I took it, it wasn't as scary because nobody was on the road. But speaking of the Grapevine, I almost drove into a winter storm and died.
Yeah, you texted me. You said, fuck that.
Yeah, so I had to stay up north for an extra week because that would have been deadly.
I was like, if you want to watch a movie, experience death, you can just watch The Iron Claw with Zac Efron.
Did you like it?
I like it. It's good. I have some issues with it as a wrestling nerd. But it is a good movie, and that is the worst Ric Flair impression I've ever. The guy would have done a better job if he just went and tried to mimic a local drunk. Like he's not even trying.
That's
not even trying to like the.
Yeah.
To be the man, I can't do it. But I'm not an actor, Mike. Yeah,
I can say Virginia in his voice, and that's it.
Yeah,
it's basically the only.
You can't do the like styling and profile.
I can. It takes some practice. I haven't done it in a while. I used to do it a lot.
You can do Ric Flair. I'll do like the Dusty Rhodes.
Dusty Rhodes,
yeah, daddy, funky like a monkey.
What was it? What was I going to say about it? So another overall thing about this album, I think this album has my favorite Larry guitar lines, but least favorite Larry solos.
Interesting. I just the front half I love so much.
Front half is pretty strong,
and then I think Tweak and Grapevine are just feel good.
They do feel good.
They're probably not standout tracks, but if you love Primus or if you think they suck, wink, then there's no reason you wouldn't like this album.
Yeah, it's a strong album. It's just definitely the pacing. You notice the pacing following 4 fucking bangers like we just dealt with pretty much. But now we've lost Tim. So what happened in the meantime? In '95, they toured extensively for this album in both the US and Europe, playing its largest headlining venues to date, which isn't surprising. This album did pretty well. When It Was Big Brown Beaver is still talked about in many ways. That video is still around.
Is that the one where they're cowboys?
Yep. Oh. And it's fucking insane to see that as a child. It's so...
There are a lot of weird. Imagine you're like a child and you get hit with Winona's and then like window liquor.
Oh boy.
Never mind sonically how weird that is.
Yeah.
Just visually.
Visually, it's a nightmare. Seeing those cowboys, like I didn't even know how to process. Like, are those people? What? Because to be fair, it's really good special effects and makeup. It looks, it's incredible. How they did that is so impressive.
Yeah.
But it's also creepy as shit. It's a perfect music video, honestly.
Man.
Oh, man. But what else? So in 96 is when Alexander quit. So they played another Punchbowl tour from April to May. And at the end of that is when Alexander quit. Later, I guess it was later that year was Brain's official show with him. But so this is the official statement from 96 after Tim left. It's something the three of us have discussed for a while. We all want to take the music in different directions. Unfortunately for Tim, Larry and I tend to want similar things creatively. This difference in opinion, I think, left everyone less than satisfied. Over time, it's developed into a rift that was eating away at the stability of the band. After the last touring season, it was evident to all of us that something needed to change. So they brought in Brain, the first ever official drummer that didn't last long because of an injury. And they put out this next album, which I remember hearing the name of this album as a kid, thinking it was the most clever thing ever because it's an obvious play on colored albums and being named after the color.
There are 3 Primus albums I've never listened to before going into this, and this is
I actually heard this one. I've only heard 6 out of the 10, I think, and this was one of them.
Okay.
But it was only once. And here we go. This is 1997's Brown Album.
Fellow colleagues, distinguished members,
More fake live sounds.
ladies and gentlemen,
This is a pretty paranoid.
take this opportunity.
Oh yeah, sounds like he's giving a dictator type speech, and it's really dark and it's super cool.
You for joining us at this particular.
Also, I don't know if we're gonna get to it, but like the guitar sounds like Tom Morello.
This meeting of the
It's a
minds
coincidence this time, but it won't be later on.
convey the essence of
Foreshadowing, everybody.
to you, a grand and noble audience.
And now is that does sound like Tom Morello guitar. Yeah, it's like the thing he did on Jerry's What's Called Jerry. I think he's switching pickups really fast. If I had to guess. So really funky and weird. Right there. He's doing a fucking circus lane. I can't unhear that.
I wouldn't be Primus if they didn't do that.
Exactly.
So it goes back and forth between those two sections pretty much. I do like the speech sections. I don't much like the funky stuff.
Yeah. Worst least favorite.
This one?
Yes.
Oh, you're out of your mind. I don't like this album. I don't think this is a good album. I think this is a disappointing album. I don't think it's the worst album. I am baffled right now.
It's 100% their worst album.
Alex, what's coming after this one, dude?
After this one is a million times better.
You're out of your mind. Holy shit, you're out of your mind. All right, let's talk.
First of all,
This is going to be the biggest disagreement we've had in a while.
first of all, I like Brain, but he didn't
do shit here. He sucks here.
He did not bring the ruckus.
He brought nothing. He's not even copying Tim here. He's doing nothing.
No, these are very boring drum beats. So
Extremely.
You got that. And then I think I think the album is boring.
Yes.
And then
It's also very long.
yes, and I think there's a repetitive nature to Primus when they're good. Yes, lean into that. But here it is stuck in neutral.
It's egregious here.
It's like you've heard the first 30 seconds of the song.
You've heard the whole thing.
You've heard the whole thing.
So the thing about their repetitiveness normally is you don't notice the repetitiveness because
Also-
something is always changing.
Yes, or they do like these flourishes, like what was it? The hamburger
Train.
Yeah, like Hamburger Train's a good example.
Yeah.
of that.
It's 8 minutes of the same thing, but it's not the same thing.
Yeah.
Or even songs like Zam Blue Collar Tweakers or whatever, where it's like the same thing over and over again, but it's not.
Yeah.
So
I
here,
think even like Claypool's voice, like he sounds bored.
this is when I first heard this, I was very, very disappointed. I heard this and I was speechless. I was upset, and I don't think I finished the whole album.
Yeah.
So going back to it now,
It doesn't piss me off, but
it's not horrible because the thing that it does have, while there's plenty of stinkers on here, it has some good riffs. That foundation, that is a good riff. That's a cool, interesting thing. I haven't heard that before. The problem is they run it into the fucking ground. So
Yeah.
even when you get a good song, like Fisticuffs, it goes on for so long doing the same thing over and over again that you don't love it at the end of it.
I was gonna say Shake Hands with Beef. Like I feel like Primus this a few years earlier would have like knocked it out of the park with that song.
Shake Hands with Beef is a perfect example because as soon as it comes in, I'm like, that's a cool chunky main riff, and I don't like the song by the end of it.
Yeah.
Even though I do think it has a really, really cool solo, and but really, it's for how long is the song? 4 minutes. It doesn't change at all. It hangs on the same two riffs for the entire time and nothing changes. So
I think, Camelback Cinema is another example of like, I think there's a good song in there.
I see that's where we disagree. I don't think there's a good song in there. I think it's one of Les's most annoying vocal performances ever.
Damn.
I mean, Jesus Christ. It's in my head right now and I'm mad.
Hats Off works a little bit better.
It's a cute novelty song, but it just doesn't have the charm of some of the other ones. It's still overstayed its welcome, even though it's under 2 minutes. I don't think it's horrible, but it's like, it's funny. The drums distract me on every song. Even on that one, it's like, he's really not doing anything. What was it? My two favorite songs in the album, and that I think are like legitimately good songs, are Duchess and the Proverbial Mind Spread. Larry's the absolute star here. He has some of his most interesting lines on the whole album.
That's funny that's one of your favorites, because that is almost like dub reggae.
I know it's weirdly reggae, but it's still really fucking interesting. Brain is actually doing some. He's still mostly doing a really simple stripped down beat, but there are moments where he gets a little bit more interesting. And then the other one that I love, or at least like a lot, is Kalamazoo. It's a Halloween funk, pretty much.
That is also probably the best like drumming track on the album. It's these like big band swing drums.
A lot of swing to it. Larry's carrying a lot of weight on this album, honestly. Like I find a lot of these bass lines to be really generic and uninteresting, just kind of like standard hard rock or funk sounding things. And then Larry's bringing some actual interesting lines, but then you get the most boring drums ever, and then no variation in the arrangements, and then it doesn't matter. It still gets boring.
I think the best song on here, and I get why it's like tonally and like for vibes, why it's the closing track, but also it's a shame that it's the closing track, because I feel like people may have like given up on the album, is Arnie.
Really? You like Arnie?
I do like I think that's the most interesting track. There's the most variety. That and Pudding Time.
Oh, Pudding Tane?
Or what?
Which is a weird play on Pudding Time. I don't like either one of those songs.
Those two have like the most variety, so they work the best, but Arnie is like the outlier for me.
Oh, I don't love it. It feels just more like jamming around hard rock progressions. And then the mixing is really weird.
Mm-hmm.
On that song, well, on a few songs, but that's
in general,
it's pretty weird, but that song sticks out. There's another one that sticks out that I'm forgetting at the moment, but the drums are just, they sound like it sounds like they're recorded in a warehouse really, really far from the band.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it's just unusual mixing.
Like these like muffled drums, but they're echoey.
Yeah. Rest in Bones is another example of that.
Yeah. Example of Larry doing heavy lift. Like I love the like psychedelic guitar on it. It's just, I don't know what it's doing on this album, but I'm glad it's there.
Yeah. Like for Rust and Bones, it's like Halloween Underwater music with these uninteresting blues vocal lines, but then you get these cool guitar lines. So it's like, even though I do like what Larry's doing in here, he's not going to save these songs because structurally they're kind of flawed. What was another one? Oh, the other one that I want to talk about, Over the Falls, because I mean, it's the bluesiest thing they've done by far. And it's like super acoustic. I mean, it has acoustic guitars in it, which is very uncommon. It's actually really cool. I think it's pretty damn strong.
Yeah. I agree that it is one of the more interesting riffs, but like I said, overall it's boring. It's repetitive. There's good songs in here, but unfortunately.
So I might be wrong, because I'm going to compare this to another episode that we've done where you gave another album worst, because what I feel like for that one, I still believe this. For this album, I'm asking. So for that one, it was YMO. You gave the album Naughty Boys worst.
Yeah.
And I believe you only gave it worse because of how big of a disappointment it was from where it came from.
Yes.
Because the albums after that, I think, were much worse.
Okay.
That's what I believe. I don't know if that's true or not. Here, I believe this album was just so disappointing that everything after, it's only up from here.
No, I genuinely I feel really strongly about this being like worst least favorite. Like, I will go to bat for the next album in a bit here.
You're gonna have to fight. You're gonna have to fight with this next one, bro.
I'm gonna fucking fight. Like, I thought the next one, I was like, oh, it's between this one and Antipop, right?
Yeah.
I haven't heard either of them, but like, I haven't heard good things about them. And I'm like, oh, it's gonna be between those. And then I'm like,
are you sure? Is that what you thought?
like, I was like, is this the same album that that people don't like? Because I feel, yeah, like I feel strongly, like, who knows? Time changes things, but I feel like 5 years from now, I will be like, yeah,
fuck Brown album.
Fuck the Brown album.
Interesting. Around this time period is when they recorded the theme song for South Park. For those who don't know, I mean, they did, and that was cool. The one that
you all know it.
Well, we know it because of the credits. That's the version they sent them.
Oh, yeah.
It was too long, so they sped it up and then Les re-recorded the vocals.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the version that we had for a little bit. And then they did a different version with the more acoustic or banjo,
like twangy
stuff, which is the one that they have for a long time. And then now the one that they have is from one of the side projects. I forget where it came from. But I brought that up because there's like one song and there's like moments on this album where you can kind of hear like, oh, it's still the band who did the South Park thing. You still recognize it a little bit, but Alex's worst and least favorite, and passionately so.
I feel strong about that.
Yes, he does. In 98, after this album was the first official live guest appearance by Buckethead, which set the stage for his nightly guest spots in 99 and the formation of C2B3 in 2002. So this is where Buckethead comes into the picture.
There you go. The second, where Primus is a farm league for Axl Rose to get people for bastardized versions of Guns N' Roses.
I didn't even think about that. Holy shit. But we are on to the last album before their first breakup. This is the one that I'm sure no one has heard who likes Primus. Here we go, everybody.
First of all, you're crazy. Fucking.
This is 1999's Antipop.
Got to give it up for this intro. One of my favorite intros.
It's very in the vein of Primus.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Tom Waits.
This fucking rules.
Well, it was produced by Tom Morello.
Yeah.
And he plays on it.
Yeah.
And I hate this song.
No.
This is not Primus. This is not Primus.
It's fucking If Primus wanted 2 guitar players, I think Tom Morello like oddly compliments them.
I don't think I don't care about what he's doing.
You can hear what he's doing, and you can also hear what Larry, and like they're not.
I'm not offended by his involvement. I'm offended by these bass lines.
I don't know. You got 2 guitars.
I don't care. I want to hear the hooks, my man. Also, Larry's trying to sing now, which is not how we like him. And this chorus, I mean, Lion City. Oh, get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. Oh,
you're overreacting.
Oh. It's produced
very expensively.
That is like their most straightforward rock song.
100%. So worst and least favorite, but
you're fucking crazy.
Worst least favorite by so much.
No.
Your passion for Brown album, it's mine for this one. When I heard this, I got sadder and sadder and sadder as the album went on. Dude, this is just if Primus was new metal. That's what this album is.
A little bit, but like,
listen to those guitars, dude. Dude, every guitar on here is just straight up Limp Bizkit. By the way, Fred Durst produces a song on here.
And that song fucking rules.
I think it stinks.
It's so good. It's so good. I saw Fred Durst and I was like, okay, what's this gonna say? That song fucking rules.
Oh, I think it's all
if they play
pure kookiness and that's it.
If they played Lacquerhead live, no one would bat a fucking eyelash.
I don't know about that because I would.
except the people who know it's fucking Lacquerhead, and they're like, "That's my man."
So I didn't go into this album hoping it would be bad. I went into this album like, oh, I kind of like this album cover. I hope it's good. And then I saw the guests. I'm like, that's a weird amount of guests. And then I hear that guitar tone, and then I start getting worried. As soon as I hear the guitar tone, I start getting worried. And then, so Natural Joe comes on. It's track 2 or song 2, track 3.
I want to know what Matt Stone how he, and I'm air quoting, produced
Matt
this.
Stone produced this.
I want to know what he fucking told
Well,
them.
here's the thing. Matt Stone, I guess him, Trey Parker, there's a lot of music in South Park. When I realized, like, he has to know something about production.
They're theater nerds.
Yeah. So I don't think he did nothing. I am interested to know what he did, because that was like, I heard that. I was like, okay, it's a pretty cool main bass hook, some good guitar textures.
Also, it's meaner. I thought like it'd be kookier, but it's mean. There's some like Stagger Lee-esque lyrics on there.
It's mean. It's a cool song. I didn't like it as much on second listen, but it's still okay. But almost every song on here, it's trying to do I feel like it's trying to do a thing, and I don't get what the thing is that they're trying to do. Like,
it's just a fun time.
I'm not having any fun with this. I'm not enjoying any, like the title track. I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, not a single riff on that song has any personality to me.
I disagree.
Really?
It feels like way more urgent, and like, which is crazy because they were fucking fighting like crazy on this.
I'm not surprised at all.
They were not having a good time.
Well, they had a million guests on here. They had to fill in the space somehow.
What an interesting time to bring in guests too, when you're like fighting all the time.
Or the perfect time if you don't want to spend time with that person.
Like you said. So like I'm amazed at this album.
So what I mean about songs where I don't know what they're trying to do, Eclectic Electric is a perfect example of that, because we got fucking James Hetfield and Jim Martin from Faith No More on there.
Also, I love like you would think like James Hetfield would be on a more like rocking song. They put him on a weird
psychedelic, weird, crazy thing.
They made him like go out of his comfort zone. It's
an interesting song. I give that one a pass because of how ambitious it is. I don't think it's that great of a song, but it goes to so many different places. I mean, it's 8.5 minutes long. It does a bunch of shit. Things start picking up around 4:20. It goes into this reggae thing around 5:30. That's pretty cool. It's like, it goes all over the place without having one distinct personality. So I don't know exactly what it's trying to do. It's just interesting. So I kind of appreciate it for that.
Try to be cool, Mike.
Yeah, but
it is cool.
A lot of the riffs there's no riffs on this album that actually work for me except for Natural Joe. And then, I will relent. But the word, I will admit, I will relinquish any kind of fight. One of the best songs ever. 100%. Coattails of a Dead Man. I mean, I love that song.
Yeah, it's fucking amazing.
It's a full-on Tom Waits horror circus song.
Yeah, fucking amazing.
It's amazing. It's an amazing song. It's the intro is as a piece of it, and then that song is the full thing. And then they re-recorded the Heckler. It's like a secret track on the CD, but on streaming it's just there. It sounds incredible. But name a song and I'll tell you why I don't like it.
I mean, we went through most of it. Oh, I was going to say, you would think Hetfield would be on Mama Didn't.
Oh my God, Mama Didn't Raise No Fool. What a fucking pile of shit that song is. Oh my God. Another Tom Morello song. By the way, he helped write that one along with Electric Uncle Sam.
Fucking.
He didn't just produce it. He helped write it.
I like to think Greet, the sacred cow, hangs out with Stuart Copeland's camel. Like, I like the idea of that.
That is an interesting one.
Of course I like that. I thought that was the Copeland one, and then I looked at the credits, and then he did.
Stuart Copeland, Dirty Johnny Man, which I don't mind. It's a weird one. It's all, I mean, a lot of these are weird, but
that one does feel like a little long in tooth at that point. It's not a bad song. I just maybe would have put it somewhere else.
I'm just so desperate for something I enjoy that I'll take it. It has these really weird backup vocals by, was it Martina Topley-Bird from Tricky? And it sounds like she's moaning on key. It's like a really bizarre backup vocals.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting song. It's cool. I don't love it, but I think it's It's pretty interesting.
You know how you can have a fun time, and I want to start working it into my vocabulary? This by saying the word bodacious.
Bodacious.
There you go.
I do like, especially the use in Bill and Ted. It
feels good.
It's a very good word. Ballad of the Bodacious is what you're referencing, and it is funky as shit, and I hate it. There was one cool riff around 1:30, a minute 30, and then it's gone.
Mike hates fun. He hates fun.
I love the first 5 Primus albums.
Those aren't fun.
Those are so fun. What was it? Power Mad is fuck, man. It's so bad.
I knew that was Tom Morello without checking.
Yeah. I mean, completely forgettable hard rock with some funky bass thrown in. Final Voyage of the Liquid Sky. I mean, those
extra funky. I like when it gets big and bombastic.
There's a couple things I like about it. Like, or one thing really. There's this bass break. It happens around 2:45, but I think it happens multiple times. It's a really interesting thing. It kind of stands out, as well as the production, a lot of the spaciness of the song.
Mm-hmm.
But that big chorus, I think, is pretty hideous and not in a good way. It just feels super nu metal. The guitar tones on this album, it's pure nu metal, and it's like, man, it just makes me sad.
You're not wrong, but you're wrong for hating it.
I don't think so. I think the vast majority would agree that this one is not that that's an indicator of correct or not, but like, I know I'm not alone in thinking this is just
probably
a
not
bummer, a serious bummer.
Probably not, but like the drumming is way more fucking interesting.
Brain is way better here. I mean, by so much, he's better here than the last album. But my problem, he's just copying Tim now. It seems like they told him, like, play more like Tim. That's what it feels
and it's
like.
Better.
It is better. It is better, but it's still not Tim. That's what I got the conclusion I came to, like, along with Jay. It's like Primus wants this type of drumming, and Tim delivers better than anybody. That's what it seems like.
Brain's best Primus album.
It's his best album. I don't think it's something to be proud of, though.
Lacquerhead rules.
Oh, yoy.
Eclectic, electric. Greet the Sacred Cow. Dirty Drowning Man. And Coattails of a Dead Man. That's 5 awesome songs.
I'm only going to give it up truly for Coattails of a Dead Man. Just because, I mean, it's basically a Tom Waits song, honestly. It doesn't really sound like Primus.
Sure.
But it's still great. What is he playing on that, actually? Tom, the name of the instrument, I forget. It's a Chamberlain. It's a Wilt Chamberlain.
Should have been a glockenspiel.
It wouldn't have that same haunted circus feel, though.
No,
it has a great haunted circus
I just
sound.
Say that because I feel like last year
we had a lot of glockenspiel.
There's a lot of glockenspiel going on in music these days.
Indeed.
In the year 2024.
But man, yeah, this is Worsley's favorite. But Jesus, like
the way you were like try to interpret, like maybe you just like overcorrect it. I feel like the hatred for this album is not like.
You think it's unwarranted?
Yeah, of course it's not essential listening.
No.
But I think it's fun. I think it could be way fucking worse, and I stand by those 5 songs I listed. So
what this reminded me of, in the way it made me feel, the level of bummed out was when I listened to the self-titled Jesus Lizard EP, where it's like, oh, it's the band, but it's different and it's not as good, and they're doing something completely different and it's not really landing, and you could tell they're not happy in the band. The same way that one bummed me out, this one bummed me out. It just I feel the chemistry off.
Fair enough, but Brown album's boring.
It is, and it just goes back to the same thing. You hate the boring stuff. I hate the really obnoxious stuff. This is an obnoxious album. That one is boring.
I don't think it's obnoxious.
Oh boy. In 99, they toured extensively in support of this album, and Buckethead sat in nightly. So there he is. He's there now.
He probably did like the Tom Morello parts.
That would make a lot of sense, actually. And they have a whole bunch of things that happened because they broke up.
The band went on hiatus from 2000 to 2003, with Claypool later stating, "The end of the 90s was an unhappy Primus camp. I hit a creative stagnation that wasn't helping us forward, the personal elements. It was just time to stop. And I had been asked for many years, how long can Primus go on? And I always said, I'll do it until it's not fun anymore. And it just wasn't fun anymore on many different levels."
There it is. That answers that. Holy shit.
And then they reunited with Alexander.
You got Tim back. In between, they all released a bunch of stuff. They were a bunch of tours, a whole bunch of stuff. Very active.
Y'all can look into that.
Yeah. This episode's getting very long, but they reunited with Tim, and they released the Animals Should Not Act Like People. Is that what it's called? I'm probably getting the exact wording incorrect, but that was 2003. I kept saying 2005, but 2003. And we're not talking about that EP here, even though it was technically the first reunion. It's cool EP. It's very cool EP. I'm sure we'll do loose ends on it.
Yeah, we will.
I dig it a lot. And then they toured extensively pretty much until, when did he leave? At 2010? Did Tim leave again, I believe? Yeah, I believe in 2010 he left again.
It was revealed in 2011 that Alexander lacked interest in continuing Primus despite enthusiasm from Larry and Claypool. Claypool hinted that the band could have recorded with Alexander, but when they were doing the Primus stuff in 03, 06, it was more of a nostalgic thing. It was a great time, but there was no creative spark as far as moving forward.
Wow. So he's like their what are they? Great Buffalo. Is it the one that got away? Is that? He's still back there. He's back with him now, but yeah, he's their Dave Lombardo.
Yeah, man, the way Slayer went out bums me out so much.
Yeah. Well, they had some deaths, and then the deaths, and then they continued, which they. How long did they continue without Jeff?
Too long.
Yeah, that should have been the end.
Check out our Slayer episode. I don't know. Just the fact that there wasn't a proper this is. Never mind. It's Slayer.
It's Slayer.
This is long enough.
Yeah. Check that episode. But Tim leaves again, and then they get old Jay Lane, the other one. They get him, and they put out this next album a good while later. This is fucking 12 years later. I guess you might as well do it. You ready?
I am now.
Hell yeah. This is 2011's Green Naugahyde.
Maybe I should skip this, but whatever.
Oh yeah.
I also thought this album was going to suck, and I like it quite a bit.
Oh, let's have a little chit chat. Definitely should have skipped this.
Sorry.
I think this is just an intro track.
All right. If you didn't like that bass last time around.
This effect, this laser water bass sound, I hope you like this bass sound because it's the only one he uses on the entire album. I'm not even kidding.
Well, you can ride a hip and crawl for $1 and peddle it around the world. You can ride a hip and crawl for $1 and press them steampunk girls. If you ride a hip and crawl,
I think the time off did them good.
They needed it.
Yeah.
you get to touch that pie.
It feels good that they're kooky again.
Yes.
I miss the kookiness. I don't love this song so much. And Larry isn't doing anything interesting at all. He's just doing reggae hits.
It's, I don't know. It's like, you kind of know you're not going to get any of the hard rock elements.
Yeah, it's not like mellow, but it's not chunky and heavy. And it's also extremely repetitive.
I don't love that opener so much, but I think it's a better. I mean, I obviously think it's a better album than the last one. I think this feels like the logical follow up to Brown album.
Well,
Like stylistically, like that seems like where it would have led to. Whereas Antipop kind of came out of nowhere with this completely different thing.
I think Primus's discography is like, it all makes sense to me. This feels like an older, more wiser band, even though we're missing Tim. But yeah, it kind of starts their journey of being more like prog rock inspired.
A little bit more dynamic. Well, they were always pretty dynamic, but a little bit more less chunky and heavy, less of a metal influence, less alt metal. But I don't love this album. I don't think it's that great of an album, but it does have songs that are like, okay, they're not bereft of creativity. They still have great songs.
This is my like I'm like looking forward to putting some distance between myself and this album and coming back to it and seeing how I feel. Cause right now I don't know. I think it is like very like interesting, and it was like way better than I thought it would be.
It is better than I thought it would be for sure. It didn't blow my mind. I was relieved I didn't hate it as basically my final feeling about it. Cause there are some good stuff here. Like Last Time Man is, I mean, it's that feels, you can't know. It feels like the Primus we know and love. That's what
you can't deny a Fisherman's Chronicles song.
Part 4 of the Fisherman's Chronicles. And it's got a really, really cool and strange section around 2 minutes in, and it gets like really, really super spacey and psychedelic toward the end. It's not too bad. Eternal Consumption Engine is full on South Park themed novelty circus music, and I like it a lot.
I almost want that. Feels like some unintentional like foreshadowing, because that does sound like something that would be in a Roald Dahl book.
Oh yeah.
But yeah,
it's pretty fucking cool. I dig it.
That is like another very like cynical song about, U.S. buying habits and things made in China. I love some Larry playing on Tragedies Are Coming.
Oh, I hate that song. It's so annoying and funky, and it goes nowhere. I hate it. Also hate Eyes of the Squirrel.
That one's not great. I'll back you up on that one.
It has this like kind of okay main riff that just runs it into the ground, and then it goes to a psychedelic break around 325, and then it just ends. It's like it's this weird anticlimactic ending. But then you get to one of my favorite songs in the album, Jilly's on Smack, which
so good.
Fucking rules.
I love the spidery guitar work.
Yep. Great guitar lines.
The busy, groovy 16th notes on the drums.
And not to mention the fucking bowed upright bass.
Yeah.
Which, and it's for one, it's actually playing support. Yeah. It's actually playing a bass, which is like,
it is kind of like Larry's show.
Yeah. It has a great atmosphere to it. It's just really catchy. I also dig More on TV a lot.
I thought that one was okay.
It's got more haunted house spookiness.
Yeah.
Like Larry's tremolo guitar lines sound pretty good. It's very reggae sounding, but I think it works nice. Well done. I don't like a lot of the other ones, like Lee Van Cleef. I don't like. I mean, it's like a joke novelty song, even by their standards. Where it's like, it's not like when I say novelty song, I don't mean like the hillbilly circus interlude stuff. I mean like kooky, silly, snappy, plucking, slapping bass kind of thing. Yeah, it's just like a jokey and not really. It's just cute more than anything.
The next song that I like really enjoy is Extinction Burst.
Oh yeah.
It's like
it's a good one.
They ran Rush through a Primus filter, and it's fucking excellent.
Has these like not just tribal drums, but like jungle tribal drums.
Yeah,
which they haven't done that before. It's interesting.
It is their most like Rush worship song, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's not bad. I dig it. Some decent riffs on that one. I don't love Green Ranger. I don't love Hoin for the Man. I
I like that song just because that's one of the ones where they like venture into like math rock territory.
Which one? Home for the Man?
Yeah.
There's like around a minute in, there's like this really cool section that comes out. It's gone immediately, of course. But there's like little hints of things that I like in there, even though I don't like the song. There's just a lot of half-written things on here. I feel like a Hennepin Crawler is track 2, and it's just like, that's a pretty underwhelming track 2. And again, the mixing from this point on is kind of going to stay with drums being buried, which is disappointing because they're buried on this one. They're buried on the next 2.
Well, I feel like the next 2 are not.
They're not quite. They're not. It doesn't hurt as much on the next 2. This one, you kind of want there to be some punch from the drums.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would not call this a return to form. I would not call this like a redemption album. I would just say it's better than the last one, but I'm not like super jazzed.
I think it's pretty interesting and like it feels like their last like rock album.
It's like it's like the last album they tried to write as Primus as we know them.
Yes. Well, unless they release new material.
Yeah, of course.
But.
Yeah, like it seems like they were trying to make a Primus album.
Yes.
That's what it feels like. Whereas the next things that we get, they're being themselves. They're making what they want to make. It's a very different thing.
Yeah.
At this point in the notes, Tom says, perhaps now is a moment to discuss your preference regarding Primus drummers, even though we talked about it the entire episode, which is funny.
It is funny.
He says, I appreciate what Jay Lane and Brain bring, but I've always leaned heavily towards Tim Alexander. Prefer his more elaborate flourishes. Love his playing on a perfect circles. The Hollow, I wish he played on more of their stuff. Yeah, I'm actually curious to any arguments for not just for Brain or Jay, for anybody who's not Tim. Give me an argument for anybody who's not Tim, because I can't see it.
I mean, it's not fair because they're not on as many albums.
No, and also on this album, Jay sounds really good, but it sounds like he's just trying to play like Tim. He's still incredible. He's doing really impressive stuff, but there's no new element. There's no, oh, Tim never did that. There's nothing like that. So it always just kind of leaves you wanting. I'm
not familiar with Jay's game outside of Primus, so I can't really comment.
Yeah. But we have another few years. Well, actually, no, it's only 3 years since. I thought it was longer. Yeah, this is only 3 years later. But we got Tim back, and by got Tim back, I mean he plays on it in a very unusual drum setup, and it's not really a drum album, and he's there. Okay, that's the point. But we got a fucking wacky one. You ready?
Oh, I've been ready.
Oh yeah, this is 2014's Primus in the Chocolate Factory with the Fungi Ensemble. So this bowed bass is here to stay for a good while. He only plays electric bass on like 1 or 2 songs.
I mean, this album is very much approached like an orchestra.
A very small orchestra, but still more than they've ever done before. So atmospheric and moody.
How many Willy Wonka movies have you seen, Mike?
Just the one that matters.
Just the one that matters.
Huh?
That's not there's 2 that matter.
2 that matter. What's the other one?
The latest.
You really?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't even think twice. I ignored it completely.
Do you think I'm not gonna stand up for the director of fucking Paddington?
He directed that?
Hell yeah!
Gotta watch it.
You gotta fucking watch it. Also, I will make arguments for Burton's.
Really?
It is a movie.
Yeah, I think. We definitely probably should have put on track 2, but it still sets up you kind of, if you don't recognize that line, then you've never seen the movie.
I love this like weird atmospheric.
It's really cool.
Pure imagination. I would also argue that the Gene Wilder one is kind of boring.
You look at the highlights, and that's what you remember.
You just watch the last 40 minutes of the movie.
Pretty much.
Everything else.
Good point. So we just listened to an entire track, and now we're listening to this track too.
Because this is crazy. This is not what you would expect someone would do with fucking Candyman.
It is unrecognizable from the original. Unrecognizable.
There's spy guitar?
There is different notes throughout the entire album. The only thing that's the same is the lyrics.
It would be cool to get some of the singing, but
Yeah. There we go. Now we're getting to the weird cow mooing bass. And you got those marimbas. This is what the album is. This feel.
Who can take a sunrise?
Dude, it's sick.
it's so rad. This is like more at home in Burton's Wonka.
Dude,
Also,
it kicks so much ass.
Also, I'm not like fucking around. I don't know if you would like it, but Danny Elfman goes so fucking hard
On that soundtrack?
on the score. Yeah.
Really?
So fucking hard. I legitimately think it's like one of Elfman's best.
I'm interested just for that.
Just
Love me
listen
some
to the
Elfman.
score and let me know what you think.
All
But
right.
anyways, this is phenomenal.
This is phenomenal. And for those who don't know, it is Primus covering the soundtrack to Gene Wilder's Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. And I saw them on this tour. It was the first time I saw them was on this tour.
Did they play stuff from?
Dude, it was one of the best shows I've ever been to.
Fuck.
They did, the entire stage was covered in giant like candy stuff.
Did you buy a candy bar?
I didn't.
You fucked up.
I did. It was, the entire stage was decked out like huge. It looked like a part of an amusement park.
Yeah.
They played the entire album, and there's like all the Oompa Loompa songs. 2 people with gigantic mascot Oompa Loompa heads came out every time and did little dances. And then after that, then they left the stage, cleaned up all the candy stuff, came back and did a full set of all their other songs.
Man,
It was amazing.
also, it's like, it's easy to compare or like see similarities between like Claypool and Wonka.
Yeah.
They both have like an affinity for hats.
Yeah.
But after listening to this, Primus as a whole, they are Oompa Loompas.
They're Oompa Loompas. Yeah.
They're fucking Oompa Loompas. Every Oompa Loompa track is somehow different.
It's somehow, so
Not just lyrically.
my only gripe with the album is that there's a lot of Oompa Loompa. There's 4.
No.
There's 4 Oompa Loompa tracks, and my problem is that they're not spaced out far enough from each other. They literally, some of them are literally 2 minutes apart from each other. It's like they're really close together.
Some kids die or get deformed depending on your interpretation of the novel. Some get axed off quicker than others. So
It's true, but on the album, listening to it as an album, like,
what are you gonna put between?
that's the thing. Like, there was no way to do it otherwise, or else I feel like they would have.
Yeah.
Because putting an Oompa Loompa song, separating 2 Oompa Loompa tracks with a minute long experimental piece is not. It's like,
Because they get on the fucking boat and then Violet gets it.
no. I'm talking about Workmobile.
Yeah, that's. Whoa, wait.
Yeah, Workmobile is only a minute 14.
Oh, okay.
And so you're basically listening to just a bunch of Oompa Loompa songs in a row. That's what it feels like. And they're cool, especially because like the thing that separates them aside from the lyrics are the intros to each one. Each one has a different kind of embellishment. They jam out on different ways. The bass does kind of different lines. But aside from that, it's just the same Oompa Loompa song. Having said that though, dude, some of these interpretations are just incredible. I mean,
I would say the most straightforward one is Golden Ticket. That sounds.
you think that's straightforward? I mean, that's a complete transformation to me.
No, I think it has like the memorable "I want a golden ticket," like that's still there. It still sounds like Primus. It's like what I thought. Where like I want it now. I will. Jesus Christ!
Well, I love "I Want It Now."
It's so good.
It's incredible.
It's
one of the best songs, honestly.
I was not expecting a spoiled child's view of the world to be done through like psychedelic music.
Not to mention Larry's singing lead on that one.
Yeah, it's fucking amazing.
Yeah, "I Want It Now" is absolutely incredible. Larry does a pretty good job, like playing a bratty girl.
Yeah,
and it has like this heavy Middle Eastern influence in it. It's but still kooky and circusy. Oh,
yeah.
it's fucking rules. For Golden Ticket, the big, "I want a golden ticket" line, even though that's recognizable as the song, they play it to where it sounds evil. They make it sound like,
they
change it completely. Of course, you heard Candyman. It sounds nothing like Candyman, even a little bit. Cheer Up Charlie is actually quite beautiful.
Let me say, while we're talking about Cheer Up Charlie, fuck Grandpa Joe. That motherfucker could walk the whole time.
He could walk the whole time. He just had no reason to live.
That motherfucker was making his grandson buy him fucking smokes while he just fucking sat in bed all day.
Okay, and here's my counter argument. Which grandparent in all of our lives didn't do that?
My grandma.
Okay, maybe not yours.
Because she's fucking nuts.
She was too busy running around doing it herself.
Yeah.
But all of our grandmas made us do a bunch of fucking chores for them.
Also, man, that is poverty like I've never known, where all four of your grandparents have to share one bed.
I'm amazed they're all alive. But
I mean, the other two barely are.
Yeah.
And then Grandpa Joe's this fucking
the faker. Yeah.
Fucking piece of shit.
But for Cheer Up Charlie, the piece of shit.
Fuck Grandpa Joe.
For Cheer Up Charlie, the cello's on there. Oh, gorgeous. There's cello on a good number of these tracks, but I wish they were on every album now.
I like how the percussion is like, it kind of sounds like clockwork on that song.
Oh, yeah, the percussion in yeah. The percussion of this whole album is really minimal. Tim is doing a really it's
the way you would like score a movie.
Exactly. He's not doing Tim stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's not going to be doing the groovy, snappy, double pedaling kind of stuff. It's just everything feels way more like what's the word? It's like confident and quiet, and it doesn't get big and loud. It's like this is what we're doing, and this is the speed we're going, and you can enjoy it or not. It's almost like a self-assured comeback album, quote unquote, because it's like they're going wild with these songs, but they're not going wild in noisy, experimental, crazy, heavy. They're just having
different shit,
having so much fun with it. Like Pure Imagination is fucking gorgeous, way scarier than the original.
Yeah, the original is so like whimsical, and depending on what movie you're watching, has these different things. But I think it's usually optimistic.
Yes. Where
I think this taps more into like the Roald Dahl version of Wonka, where he's a little more evil and sinister.
Larry's eerie guitar lines permeate through that whole song, where every time you think it's going to be hopeful because of the main melody,
it's unsettling.
It goes into this fucking hideous, unsettling little thing.
I think the best take of like pure, if you want like that same feeling, is Farewell Wonka Nights.
Yeah, the closer. Yeah, way more pretty.
Yes.
Instrumental and more jammy, but with really good production. That bass sounds incredible.
I think my nitpicky thing, I'm a little disappointed is, and maybe it's just because I let my imagination get the best of me, is Semi-Wondrous Boat Ride. I wanted that
to be nuts.
The
movie is nuts. We know it as like this. Why is this horror scene in this kid's movie?
Yeah.
And this one, it is twisted. It is nightmare music, but it's not scary.
It's this semi-trippy, almost an interlude. It's 2 minutes, but I'm going to call it an interlude.
Yeah, it's still what it is. It's still like the monologue with him screaming at children, pretty much, which is always going to be kind of weird and unsettling, but I like it. I don't think they didn't go super hard with it.
No. But that's this. I don't even feel guilty when you have a song called Pure Imagination. I don't even feel guilty for my imagination setting me up to fail.
Fair enough.
I leaned into it.
Yeah, this album brought my hopes back up and made me happy, even though I already heard the album after this and I already know how I feel.
Mm-hmm.
I heard this and I like how they just came back with this seemingly random ass idea. I know Les has been a fan of that movie for his whole life.
He said, I forget what came out first, but I think this came out first, and he said he was just obsessed with it until like Jaws came out.
Yeah, it was like this and Jaws. Yeah, that he was absolutely obsessed with. But yeah. We're going to cover the soundtrack of an old kids movie, and we're going to make it incredible and completely transformed.
It's kind of the most Primus thing they could do,
all while not feeling like classic Primus. Like it feels like Primus, but not like this is not Frizzle Fry.
Funk. There's no heaviness.
Nope. There is no crazy slapping and tapping on the bass. There's hardly any electric bass at all. But it still feels like Primus.
Yeah.
That's the thing that's what I always look for when I look for like a long discography or when I see bands that have been doing it for a long time. Can you tap in to the essence of what makes you great while still doing something different? That's why I didn't like the last album. That's why I didn't like the album before that, because they're doing different things, but there's something missing. There's like this element missing. And then it's completely different, but feels right and feels like them. I think it's just beautiful.
It is a delightful take on a soundtrack or score. And I kind of wish more bands would do it.
I would be nervous to see how a lot of them.
Most bands don't have the fucking balls.
The balls, or maybe even the patience.
Or even that. Or the skill.
Because if you don't have a mind for orchestral arrangements, you can't force it. Because if you force that kind of music, then it's just unlistenable, kind of.
I feel like I don't remember if it's this one or the next one. The original plan was to do Sgt. Pepper's or Magical Mystery Tour.
Magical Mystery Tour, yeah.
But then he found out the Flaming Lips.
Flaming Lips are doing Sgt. Pepper.
Yeah, so then he pivoted, which is fucking awesome. But I feel like the Flaming Lips could do something like this.
It fits their MO to do something wild like that. Although I kind of appreciate the kooky element that Primus has way more than Flaming Lips. Flaming Lips doesn't have a kooky element like that.
I hope they just do nothing but adapt children's novels from here on out.
That'd be pretty good. Oliver Twist, I'm waiting.
No, not that. It's got to be like fantastical in some sense.
Not just depressing?
No, not just depressing.
The Shawshank Redemption. We'll do that one. But
Primus doing Of Mice and Men.
Also depressing.
And not a children's novel.
Yes. But we are finally here to the final album. At least the last one that we have in our year of our Lord 2024. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Here we go, baby. Their shortest album by quite a bit, too.
Quite a bit.
It says 2017's The Desaturating Seven. Now, this one is going to take a long time.
I'll just play for a little bit and then I'll yeah. I did actually.
Timestamp it.
I'm sorry. That's my bad. I set myself up. But yes, I like this, like...
The intro, it's setting up the story.
Fantastical, medieval...
Oh, that bass, man. Oh! The textures here. Fucking something about them feels absolutely magical.
I mean, yeah. It's a fucking magical album.
It is. But the drums, they're so minimal, but you feel it. Oh, boy. And it's Tim doing nothing. That's how great he is. He's always great even when he does nothing.
Oh, I didn't realize Justin Chancellor.
Justin Chancellor is the narrator and the opening. Yeah. Oh, this is so good.
Primus, but we know it's Primus.
Yeah.
We feel it. And it's fucking really hooky.
It's also funny how an older, wiser, more mature Primus means adapting children's novels into
Yeah.
amazing albums.
Wait, I thought they wrote this concept. Or was it a
No,
book?
it's based on a
It's
book.
based on a book?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's fun.
Yeah.
What an interesting line.
That's what I'm saying. Next album should be the Stinky Cheese Man.
Maybe. Oh, man. All right. So,
The 7, the following track does feel. I mean, actually, the 7 is a Primus song. Whenever I think of the
Yeah,
quintessential Primus song, that's
that one's a little more rocking and, it's a little more restrained than, Primus.
It's a different Primus, but it is, man, this is, I think, a contender for best and personal favorite. Like this album, I remember when it came out and I was floored. I couldn't believe how good it was. And it's still that good.
It's weird. It's not like a fun album, but if you like weird, interesting music, it's so much fun to sit and listen to it. And it's like over in 30 minutes.
Yeah. This is, I think, along with Suck on This and Sailing Sea Cheese, is their best paced album because for one, it's 30 less than 35 minutes. It's everything flows into the next thing so beautifully. It's a concept album for one, because it's based on the book, but it's also written like a concept album and it's executed like a concept album. So it has like recurring themes, recurring melodies, like the Trek, which is 8 minutes long and fucking amazing. It bleeds right into the scheme, which sounds like an extension. It's a different song, but it sounds like an extension of it.
Yes.
So it all kind of blends together. The end is like a reprise of The Valley. It's different arrangements, but it still kind of closes the story. It's very much a concept album.
Yeah. I love bringing in a more like traditional sense of whimsy in this, and obviously the last album.
Yeah.
I like things that sound like high fantasy or like medieval acoustic guitar.
It's whimsical as fuck. This is very whimsical.
Like Larry's guitar playing when he switches over to like the electronic parts on the Trek. I don't know what that type of playing or pattern, if it even has a name. But
which part are you talking about? Do you have a timestamp? Because that song, it alternates between these two big sections. One is the really subdued, subtle, quiet bass tapping sections, where it's really kind of creepy, and then in these big, giant, heavy toms rocking sections.
I'm talking about the rocking
sections. Oh yeah, it's the tremolo effect, right? Where it sounds like it's watery. Yeah, it's a tremolo and distortion. Really cool effect. But on that song has their absolute most whimsical sounding progressions ever. It's delightful.
Yes.
Absolutely delightful.
Yes.
God damn, it's so well written. Like I can't believe how well written. Because with the last album, with the Willy Wonka thing, even though it was super original, they took some real liberties with it. You can kind of chalk up to like, oh, well, it still covers. They had something to work with.
I like something to anchor them.
Yes.
This is just like straight from the mind.
This is exactly what they were. Yeah.
Musically, it's straight concept.
Yeah. Musically. Because you listen to Green Naugahyde and then you listen to this, it's like
it's a different band. Yeah.
Essentially a different band. There is no big heaviness on here. There's no more chunky. There's no more metal. There's no more alt metal, but it still packs a punch. Like The Storm, which is one of their best fucking closers. The parts that like it only kind of hits hard a few different times in the whole song.
Yeah, like around 2:30, you get these like brief like upbeat moments, and then they take them away, and you're like, "Am I going to get that again?"
Yep. And
then like eventually the song this gets faster.
Around 4:15, it goes into this really cool section. Some of the best stuff ever. It's fucking amazing. It's so like when I say patient, a perfect example is The Dream, because it's 6.5 minutes and most of it is noodling, experimental atmosphere.
Shit Mike hates.
Shit that I'm not into. And then at the very end at 5:20, it goes into this amazing groovy section.
Yeah.
With a really cool minimal drum sound. And songs like that where even though I don't love like long dicking around sections and stuff, it's part of the whole thing. Like maybe I wouldn't love The Dream if I just put it on randomly.
Mm-hmm.
In the context of the album, it fits. It's all cohesive.
That's how you know it's a good concept album, when you need like the whole thing.
You need the whole thing. Yeah. Like the scheme would feel weird by itself because it feels like an extension of the track. And I'm sure the track would sound like it ends abruptly without the scheme following it. It's like everything just flows into each one really nicely. And it's all so fucking, it's just catchy, man. They're just cool songs. At the end of the day, they're just cool songs. This thing rules. It's amazing that they made an album this good this late in their career.
I don't think it is, but
I think it's amazing for any band to have this long of a career, and at the end they put out one of their fucking best albums. Like
I think
holy
like
shit!
normal bands, but I don't think Primus is
They're not
normal band.
No, they're not. Definitely not a normal band. Any band who does fucking Willy Wonka, that's not a normal band.
I want like Les Claypool to review all 3 Wonka movies.
Yeah, have them do like a commentary over it.
Well, that'd be cool. I would settle for like 6-minute reviews.
Yeah, oh, yeah, a little digestible.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that's last time I saw them was on this tour. It was at the Greek. You were there. We didn't go together, but we were both at the same show.
Yeah.
That was incredible.
I might have to see them on this next tour.
I already am. I already bought tickets.
You son of a bitch bastard ass.
They're playing with Pussifer in a Perfect Circle at the Hollywood Bowl.
Yeah.
And
I don't love Perfect Circle, but I still have not seen Pussifer.
That should be interesting. I'm interested in seeing both of them.
Yeah.
I've only ever been to the Hollywood Bowl once. I think it was with you to see the Cure.
Oh yeah.
That was
free tickets.
Free tickets. It was the only time I ever been to the Hollywood Bowl.
And we were like in the nosebleeds.
And I'm about to be in the nosebleeds again because those tickets are
fucking expensive.
Oh Lord, dude. It's fucked up.
Most tickets are expensive these days. I'm glad I've seen all the big bands I like want to see. Like,
yeah,
I'm crying at the idea of like what a ticket for Tool will cost next time they come around.
It's just becoming pretty insane.
Yeah, fuck Ticketmaster, fuck Live Nation, fuck Grandpa Joe, and fuck Boston.
In whichever order you like. Oh man, but hell yeah, we did it. We made it to the end. Holy shit. Big giant episode, almost 3 hours because we love Primus and we have to talk about every
nitty gritty. Get in there.
God damn. But thank you so much for listening and watching. Thank you, Colton, for requesting this, as well as everyone else who requested it, and on Patreon at least. I hope you enjoyed and have something to take away.
Someone better fucking enjoy this.
So one person at least. But let's do a little recap.
Best, Sailing on the Seas of Cheese. Personal favorite, Pork Soda. Worst, least favorite, Brown Album, and I fucking stand by that.
Best, Sailing Seas of Cheese. It is what it is, baby. It is fucking perfect and flawless. And maybe if you don't love the songs, maybe it's just it needs time to grow, because I remember that was the first Primus album I ever heard, and I liked it a lot, but it didn't become my favorite until much later.
They're overwhelming.
Or like the best.
If you're a newbie or you're coming from like more normal music, but once you settle in, it's smooth sailing.
I think Sailing Sea of Cheese is really the best. Once you settle with a band for a while and you get used to their sound, it's hard to deny that one.
You can listen to Ween and then listen to Primus and you're like, oh, this seems normal.
It would seem pretty normal compared to Ween. Yeah. A Pork Soda, personal favorite, because it is gnarly. It is heavy. Oh boy, I just feel it on my goddamn soul. And Worsley's favorite, Antipop, because of new metal. That's why. New metal and Tom Morello and Fred Durst.
That Fred Durst song fucking rules.
I don't like it. But thank you so much for listening and watching and hanging out. Please subscribe and hang out longer if you enjoy this. Talk some shit in the comments. Tell us why we're idiots. Follow me on all social media at PanderMonkey and Alex on Instagram at
Every Album Alex.
Don't forget to check out our history guy Tom Osman at Tom Osman Sounds on all social media, as well as TomOsmanSounds.com for all his music. He's been doing a lot of good work for us. He's been getting us records in advance, new records, and he's been getting us interview stuff. And he does a lot of interviewing on his Substack with his new podcast, interviewing a lot of cool musicians. So check that out if you like cool musicians.
I'm going to listen to his Yes.
Oh, Satyasena? Is that how you pronounce
Because that is one of my most exciting new bands that I've heard.
it? 100%. That is a crazy band. And apparently that dude is a really awesome guy.
Good, because that would be it'll be out by the time this, but
100%. Go check that out.
I'm excited to listen to that.
Hell yeah. And well, you must not forget ever, Patreon, baby. Patreon.com/every-album-ever. That's where you will go if you want to suggest full episodes like this one, like Colton did for us. You can see our schedule in advance. You get to vote on polls to decide who we cover next. You get all the bonus episodes. You get to join our Discord, be a part of our community. That's also where we pick out our most of our EAE singles episodes. So if an album came out this year that you want to see us or hear us talk about, throw it on there. And if you're tier 2, then you can suggest a full discography, a full episode for us, as well as suggest any album from any discography for us to cover on Patreon bonus episodes. So if you don't want to hear about every fucking album from a band like, I don't know, REM, a band that we hate, that we're never going to do an episode on, but you want to hear us talk about one album, we might do that.
Or maybe a band we don't hate, but like Voivod is fucking gigantic.
Voivod is gigantic, but they have some pretty cool albums.
So that's
stuff like that, or just whoever the hell else. You get the idea. So go there, do that. Thank you very much. I also have an EP. You should probably listen to that too. It's in the link to that in the description. Yes, thank you. Is that it?
I want to send a thank you this randomly to Dale Hollow.
Dale Hollow rules. Thank you so much, Dale Hollow. You're not going to see this, but I still love you so much.
I just want to say it because I love him so much, and I will course correct on the next episode and do it in the front.
Dude, he's such a rad dude. He fucking sent us a bunch of merch because you put him on your year-end list. He narrowly missed being on mine, and I was so mad about that. But
I got you.
Yep.
And then
he reached out. He's a very, very cool dude, and I'm looking forward to seeing him live.
Thank you, yours truly.
Yours truly. Thank you, yours truly. But I think that's about it. That's about does it. So, well, what are we gonna wrap it with?
You know damn well. Well, I don't know if you know damn well, but I feel like we should do I Want It Now.
That is the most. There are so many amazing.
There's so many.
We could have picked any of the fucking hits. We could have picked some sleepers like fucking Bob or whatever the fuck, or like Blue Collar Tweakers or something that hits hard.
Initially, I was just going to give you Bob, but then when we talked about
John the Fisherman, something. But I Want It Now. You ain't expecting that, baby.
Hell yeah.
So thanks so much for listening and watching. See ya.